Good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, everybody. Super excited to have you guys here with me today on another fantastic Lumberjack Landlord live stream. So it is Sunday, July 17th. We got lots to cover. Big week this week with the numbers coming out from the National Association of Realtors, NAR, on transactions. I expect it. Oh, dear God. I'm just not emotionally prepared for all the morons out there to be talking about crash this and crash that, because so far what we've seen is those crash in transactions is going to equate to a higher median price. Oh, I'm just not ready. I have to get off social media. Oh my word. The number of conversations and the things that I hear people and watch people say, I'm the one who didn't get out of high school. Stuff is nuts. These people are nuts. Unbelievable. So anyway, super excited to have you guys with me today. We're going to go through a bunch of stuff. We're going to cover the housing market and what I'm coming to expect from NAR. Had a couple of people send some things in that I want to kind of talk to you guys about. Talk a little bit about the session. If you're one rental at a time's students yesterday, did a session with Todd Baldwin and with Spencer Cornelia, who are roommate house hackers. I did that for a while, didn't love it. And so, yeah, so I think we got a lot of stuff to talk about. And yeah, we'll just kind of jump in. We'll do the hellos and then we'll get into some conversation. But actually, before we jump in, so yeah, basically, National Association of Realtors is this week. They'll be talking about national transactions and seeing how far those are down. My guess is at a minimum, it's 25% on transactions. It could be as high as 35 or 45, but I'm thinking probably 25. It's going to be in that range, plus or minus 5%. It could surprise heavily to the upside, certainly, with that as well. And then talking about being prepared, I'm going to kind of walk you guys through what we've done. But, over the last year and a half, we've gone through and we've refinanced 23 properties, guys. This is a report that I am very, very eager to see. Now, it's not because the massive crash in transactions means like an instant correlation to fall in prices, but it eventually leads to that, right? The thing about the housing market, for those of you who are newer, is it leads to things. It's this step, then another step, then another step. Now, one of the things that's happened the fastest this year, that it's happened faster than it's ever happened before, is the rise in rates. That velocity was off the charts, right? Because the Fed was being a credible threat, as my good buddy, the uneducated economist, likes to say. Their value of the credible threat, saying this is what we're going to do, this is what we're going to do in this market. This is something that's absolutely huge. So what's really interesting is their credible threat is now they're talking 75 basis points. Some people are thinking they're going to surprise with a 100 basis point raise. They need to speed things up a little bit, really trying to get inflation under control. I still believe inflation hits 10%. And in fact, if you do the math the right way, and I'm not saying that it's a fake number, I'm just saying that rents are usually a lagger. And so right now it's only 5.6% is all that rents are up in that inflation number, annualized. And we all know as landlords that it's not 5.6% anywhere. It's not that anywhere. I had on my low end, maybe 15%. On my high end, I had 50% increase in rent. So the numbers are what the numbers are, but at 5.6 annualized rate, if you just take into account what it actually is, which is more like 18, and then how they weight the percentage of it, we're actually at more like 13% inflation. It probably feels more like that to all of us, right? That live in the real world. And don't have drivers to everything and don't have staff that takes care of everything. And I'm not talking about rich people. I'm talking about the people in Washington. They're really clueless until an idea is brought to them. They really don't understand or know. It's just a fact, because so many people that are in office are pretty well off. And in fact, some people have gotten far more well off while being in office, but we'll leave that for another day. So I think that, yeah, I think that the numbers are going to crush this week. I think that that's going to start the process, right? So there are going to be people that wanted to sell, but that now, based on what the market's going to tell them, they probably can't. There's going to be people that are going to say, yep, we're still in the market. We still need to buy something. There's going to be people that, that say, geez, now we really can't afford to buy anything until it really starts to correct and we start to see an erosion in price. However, depending on what gap they're in. So the second home that I'm shopping for in Las Vegas, I'm not in a median home price. I'm like 50% above median. So interest of full disclosure, just so you guys kind of know what we're looking at, is we're looking at like what 750 to like 1.5 million, kind of right in that range. And so, you know, there's talk that from that 1.5 million price, that it might actually retrench 30% or maybe even a little bit more. So if I can, I'm just being patient. I'm learning the market. I'm understanding. I've got a buy box. I'm really understanding what that market looks like and how it works. And I'm in no rush to buy. I can buy this year. I can buy next year. I can buy in 2 years. I'm not going to, I don't think I'll be able to pick the hard bottom. But when I see pricing is off 30% or 35%, if it ever gets there, I just want to start to see some sort of a bottom hit or some sort, even if I have to start buying back on the way up. But it's just something I'll watch. And again, I only need one house. I only have to find one person that needs to sell, that has to sell, that's got to move. So yeah, that's kind of that. So let's jump into the hellos and then we'll kind of go through stuff because there's plenty to cover, don't we all know? And I'm here to also answer questions just because, so I did the house hacking thing with roommates as well, but not to the degree that Todd and Spencer do it. And so it made sense for me to spend time on the unit side. But yeah, we'll talk about all that stuff. And for those of you who don't know me, Lumberjack Landlord, now officially 121 units. If you follow me on Instagram, I posted a picture of the new house. But yeah, officially 121 units. Feels good to break the 120 mark. I don't know. It just, what's my next favorite deal? Or what's my favorite deal? The next one. Love this one, but it's closed. We're already looking for the next one. We're actually looking at something, I think, this coming week. So we'll see. We will see, but let's get into it, guys. Let's get into it. Good to be here. Good to have you. Good to be here. Julie Anderson, good morning, Matt. Haircut looks great. Thank you very much. It was honestly very nice and therapeutic to sit in a chair and get my hair cut for the first time in a year. I've been cutting my hair for the last year all by myself. So it was really nice to actually sit there and have someone else cut it for me and, you know, and actually have kind of straight lines, you know. So that was much appreciated, Nicole. I really appreciate you. Thank you very much for a great haircut. Or she did the best with what she had to work with. That's what I always tell her. So yes, thank you very much. And Julie Anderson and I we got into a group where there was some inane chatter going on. And every once in a while, I feel the need to have a surgical drop the mic moment. So Julie, if any of that offended you, I apologize. But holy cow with some of these people. REI Stoners, morning, Matt. Who sets the amount of days to close on a deal? So it's usually a combination. When you're negotiating, you can have that conversation. But before I have that conversation, I'm usually talking to my bank because my bank is going to order the appraisal. And my bank ordering the appraisal, they'll tell me what their typical lead time is right now in the moment for lead times on appraisals, because you need to get the appraisal back. Then you have to typically give the bank, they usually want 3 to 5 business days to review it and then agree to the appraisal. After they've agreed to the appraisal, it then can go to a closing company or to a closing attorney. And typically then it's just a few days. It can typically be like 2 to 5 days. So usually in a down market, you can usually close in 30 days. In a crazy busy market like what we're coming out of, it could have been 60, because it really was dependent on the appraiser, and when they could get the appraisal and then what the bank's lead time was to review it. And then the closing company, they start the process when you get the P&S. So they're just kind of watching things age and making sure that you've provided them your binder for insurance, making sure that you've shown them proof of funds, that you have the wire transfer set up to go, or that you're going to bring a check to closing. But that's usually done on something called the Alta statement, which is something you're sent typically 48 hours, 24 hours before close. You review that, make sure all the numbers are right, send it back to them, make sure there's any adjustments. When you're buying an income property, you're looking at, do they have the rents in there? Do they have the prorated rents in there? Do they have the security deposits in there? Etc. That sort of stuff. So that's how it gets set, is a conversation with your bank. Make sure you're understanding their timelines, because then the bank is going to then work with a closing company or an attorney to get the transaction closed. So really, it's most dependent on the appraisal and the appraisal turnaround. That's sometimes why you need an extension, is because the appraiser says, yeah, we can have this over to you in 3 weeks, and then it's not 3 weeks. So yeah, it's one of those crazy things. I was prepping for a video for you guys. Yes. Santa Santiago. Good morning, Matt. Good morning. Family is doing great. Thank you for always asking. Yeah, family's doing great. We're just enjoying the summer. Next test day is the 1st of August. And so, yeah, we're going to go do the 1st of August for all of her scans, and just pray our miracles continued. And then this coming Tuesday, I'm in court for an eviction. So I'll do a whole video on that, talking about the eviction. We'll see how it goes. It's been forever since I've done one, so we shall see. We shall see what it looks like. Please tell us your thoughts about the Fed. Tell us some experience of your duplex house hacking. So on the Fed, yeah, I think they need to go 100. They'll probably chicken out and go 75. But maybe they go 100. If they go 100, and then we can start to see inflation start to decline, I just don't see. I mean, it's going to be demand destruction, right? But not seeing it right now. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, the Fed is not being as aggressive as they should be. I think that they should have gone 100 on the last one. I think they should go 100 on this one. I think they need to be taking bigger chunks and really trying to, destroy some demand. But what do I know? I'm a 9th grade dropout. Experience on house hacking and duplexes. Yeah, we'll definitely talk about that. That's a bit more of a story. So we'll get through a bunch of questions, or a bunch of highs and stuff first. REI owners, I picked the inspector. Yes, but who picks the title company appraiser? Appraiser is the bank. You have no contact with the appraiser, because that is an Obama law. Not judging. This is just the person who put the law in place, saying that we can't have direct contact with appraisers, that the bank orders the appraisal from a pool of appraisers. So it's like random selection. So then you randomly get assigned an appraiser. And then typically they're meeting the listing agent at the property to do the walkthrough and review. I always ask, you can ask your bank, but you can also ask your broker or your agent to talk to the listing agent to let them know when they're doing the appraisal, because you'd like to just do the walkthrough to be able to ask questions. Or don't even tell them to ask questions, but just you want to be able to do the walkthrough to better understand the process. That's something that almost always they'll allow you to do. You just can't pick the appraiser. And you're not going to have any direct contact with the appraiser, because technically you're paying for it, but the bank actually is the appraiser's customer. So they're going to send the appraisal to the bank for review. Once it gets approved by the bank then sends it to you and says, this has been approved. This is what the appraisal was. The closing company, it depends on the bank. I have a closing company that I use when it's a non-commercial transaction, i.e. 5 units or bigger. If it's 4 units or smaller, I like a bank that I use specifically, because they're much less expensive on closings. They're like $1,100 or $1,200, whereas an attorney is closer to $3,000, $2,500 to $3,000. Dividend Dave, hello everyone in Lumberjack. Good morning, Dave. Dividend Dave, hello REI. Good morning. Yep, Matt Bittner. When you house hacked, how often did your tenants bother you? Enough to where I didn't do it anymore. I think Todd Baldwin was in a unique position. He was younger, a little bit younger than I was when I was house hacking with roommates. And so it was a little bit different for him. And without them, he wasn't really affording the mortgage without them. So for me, it was like I could afford the mortgage without having roommates. I was still making money without having roommates. All that does is accelerate your cash flow. So it's not that it's a bad thing at all. It accelerates your cash flow for sure. It's just in the end of the day, is that a lifestyle that you want to live? Like imagine Zuber with roommates. No, no. But Dion with roommates, absolutely. Yeah. So yeah. So that's why and the other funny thing too is like, let's just be honest. Todd's now in a duplex. He's house hacking the duplex, but he doesn't have roommates. Spencer Cornelia is not going to have roommates. Like they all build to that stage where they use that as a stepping stone to get to and having roommates. But let's face it, they all get out of it because no one wants roommates. But that is a way to accelerate your process for sure. REI Stoners, what if my plan is to house hack, but tenants are occupying the units and on a lease? On a lease is more difficult. On a lease, usually you can either do a buyout or you have to wait for it to expire. Not on a lease, you can make it part of the deal, which I don't necessarily recommend because that can be very difficult to that. Then usually, I mean, it's something that you might be able to ask for. Some landlords are willing to do it. Other landlords are not. They're like, I'm not going through that process for you. You're just going to have to figure it out after you own it. Yeah. REI Stoners. Hi, Dave. Dion talk. Someday I'm going to randomly pop in during your live stream, but not today. See, the nice thing is Mike was only like an hour and a half out of Dion's way on his way to Arizona. The challenge for Dion is there's no such thing as a little bit out of the way when you're going all the way to Siberia. Like it's gonna take him a solid, this isn't a challenge, Dion, a solid 2 or 3 days to get here. That's the best. I would love it though. I'm actually set up where we can actually have 2 people. Yeah, I'm set up where we can actually have 2 people. And the new studio is actually set up that way too. So yeah, we'll be ready for you, my man. So I just saw a bunch of folks join. Welcome to the channel. I'm the Lumberjack Landlord. Super excited to have you guys. 121 units as of Friday, 41 buildings as of Friday. I'll answer any questions that you have about house hacking or about real estate investment, or most importantly, I'm a landlord. Now what? So we'll answer all those kind of questions for you guys. But excited to have you all here. Let's see. LV Teach Me. Hello, everyone. Hello, Matt. Hello, LV Teach Me. She sent me an awesome video that I watched. I won't say who the creator is, but I watched the video. What's really funny is it was a conversation about Section 8 housing. And he was like all about it. It was the best, nothing better. It's awesome. Don't do it any other way, blah, blah, blah. A month later, he had a video where he's like, so here's why it sucks to be a landlord in Section 8. Oh, there's pros and cons. And I like to go over. So I've been a landlord for 1 year with Section 8, 1 year, just one. So I'm going to do a video that basically gives you my impressions on here's what I loved about the program. Here's what I hated about the program. And then kind of take you guys through it that way. To me, there's still tenants, and tenants to me are just people. They're people. So I don't care how it's being paid. I don't care any of that stuff. I care about the other stuff around the money. The money is important, but there's all the other factors as well. So that's what I'm going to kind of cover in that meeting or in that video, talking about Section 8 after a year. This is what it looks like. So yeah, really pumped to do that video for you guys, but we will talk about some of those things today. REI Stoners, do you get a bill each month for your mortgage with a breakdown of costs, property tax, insurance, principal? Sorry. Had to scroll down. You get one that says, depending on your bank. So the way that my statements come is they basically say mortgage. Here's the overall amount. And then they will say principal is a line item, interest is a line item. And then what was taken out for the escrow account, which is what's taken out for taxes and insurance, they show the escrow amount. And then if it was one of those months where, if it was the 1 month a year where my insurance is due, they show that being paid. If it's the 1 month, or if it's the 2 times a year that taxes come out, they'll show that disbursement payment being made. So that's kind of how they do it. Okay, we'll close this. There we go. Perfect. Joe Gentili, what's up, Matt? Hope things are good to you as well, sir. Still car shopping, not for the Lambo, for business stuff, for plow trucks and sanders. We got to get something going here soon because it's going to be snowing and salt and sand before we know it. Roldan Crespo, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Roldan. LV Teach Me. Wow, 23 refis. Yep. That sucked. I won't lie. That sucked. That entire process, even with the best banker in the world, sucked. It was awful. You guys think going through one refi sucks? I did 9. I did 9 on one. I did 9 on one. I did 10 on another, and I did 4 on another. Sucked. It was a ton of work. We actually did the 4 first, and that's why we did 9 the second time. Because 4 sucked so bad. I was like, it sucked so bad anyway. Let's just do 9. And we did the next grouping that we were ready to do. And then we did the last grouping. Matt Bittner, how feasible do you think it is for you to use a management company to keep from having to deal with tenants if you are house hacking a fourplex? It's not difficult. That's not difficult. No. Nope, not difficult at all. You can totally do it. Sometimes, I mean, there were plenty of duplexes where the only time I saw the people was when they were moving in. It's the only time I saw them. Never saw them otherwise. So, we a lot of times would redo units before people would move in. So we didn't really have stuff that would break. We lived next to somebody for 3 years or 4. 3 or 4 years. And I think I set foot into their unit one time in those 4 years. Just, yeah. So it's very, very doable. Don and Bev Perkins, good morning. Good morning, Don and Bev. Roldan Crespo, would you like to see more interviews being between you and uneducated economists? Lots of valuable critical thinking about U.S. economy. Yeah, I love working with Simon. Like, I just love working with that guy. He is so good. He is so good. Yeah, he's looking at all like the inputs that go into what I'm doing on the housing side. He's looking at the financial systems and a lot of that stuff. And then, the lumber market and commodities and what he does on a daily job in construction is so much. He's the guy that I talk to at the counter, right? And so he's the man. I love working with him. Guys, if you want to see more interviews with him, I already know. I would do an interview with him any time of day because I love spending time with him and talking about stuff. You want to see more interviews? Go watch his stuff. Go do a super chat with him. $2, $5. Ask him a question and then say, hey, loved your thing with the lumberjack landlord. I want to push you guys that way because I think that he's offering amazing information that a lot of people aren't. And he's not trying to create all this fear and hysteria. He's just saying, this is what I believe is happening, but you make the decision for yourself. That's why I love the way he ends his videos. Let me know what you think. I just think that he's the most open-minded guy around. And I think that he really does kind of understand the things and how they work. And guys, he is so unbelievably connected now with all these amazing people that wouldn't, quite frankly, give a guy like me time of day. Just, I can't say enough about him as a person, as a creator, and as a guy who just loves. I think he cited the 4th Amendment on his last video. He didn't read it. He recited it. That's a patriot. Way it goes. Like, I consider myself a patriot, and I can't recite the 4th Amendment, not all of it, not without a bunch of, is that the part? Yeah. So I would love to do specials with him, as many as he'd like. I think he's fantastic. I think he's so smart. And yeah, And I think to a certain degree, we're cut from the same cloth. Mine, albeit just a little bit bigger. But yeah, I love working with Simon. He's just such a good guy. So yeah, please go to his channel. Tell him that you love the stuff with the lumberjack landlord. Go to his channel. He is a good guy, deserves the views because he does the work for us. He saves me a ton of work. So yeah, love working with him. Great question. Thank you for asking, Holden. Mandy W. Good morning. Good morning, Mandy. How's your adventure going? I know that she just bought her first, and so I'm very interested to know how that's going. Let's see. Robert Fairnelly. Hello, Matt. Good thing you did the video with Zuber about the NH market. I got some backup to push back on price decline in NH unless you were referring to your small market. No, I mean, I don't think New Hampshire as a state, and certainly not my market, is shifting anytime soon. 3 open houses last weekend, all of them went for over ask, $20,000, $30,000, and $50,000. I don't know what happened this weekend yet, but I know there were some open houses. I know that there were 3 multifamilies in my buy box that hit the market. I thought they were all overpriced, and they all sold. They all sold. They all had decent returns. They had maybe 6, 8, 9, they're around there. But yeah, too expensive for me. They don't fit my model. Yeah. LV, teach me at REI Stoner. I think the realtor, if you're working with one, normally chooses title company that have a working relationship. On the other hand, the lender, if you're working with one, picks the appraiser. Yep. Yeah. Robert Fairnelly, only development I know of is 90 new units downtown near Granite Street and Elm, which won't make a dent in my market. No, not even close. None of that brand new stuff touches what I used to own in Manchester and what you still own in Manchester. No, nothing like it. LV, teach me. Woohoo, 121 units. Yeah, right. Crazy. I'm very happy for you. 121 units. Oh, you had to go bilingual on me. Viva felicidades. Sorry. Language was by far my worst subject ever. I am horrible at language. If they could make it numbers, I just soon speak binary to people. But yeah, other languages, my wife, amazing. Me, horrible. Yeah, horrible. But thank you. Sell next day. Well, now that the ego plug is over. Oh, okay. Sorry I bothered you with that. You can always go watch something else. We shall learn about doorknobs. It's interesting you pick knobs. Yeah, we can talk about whatever products you'd like to talk about. Tom Kine, hey y'all, happy Sunday. Sell next day. We celebrate wins here, my man. That's what we do. That's what we do. I'm in the business every single day, just like you guys are. That's why I'm valuable to you, is that I do exactly what you do. I just do more of it. So I want to share those victories with you guys because I think it's important to celebrate the wins. That's how I've gotten so successful, is celebrating the wins and understanding that we make mistakes in those deals. Absolutely make mistakes in the deals. But it's all good. Robert, oh, hey, Tom Kine. Hey, y'all, happy Sunday. Happy Sunday, Tom. Robert Fairnelly, average duplex in Manchester is now around 400 and still going strong. That 10% price decline isn't happening soon. No, I don't think it is. New Hampshire is going to be one of the last. New Hampshire's, it just is. We're going to be one of the last, but we always are. We almost always are one of the last ones to really start to go through it. So yeah. And again, for me, I don't care about price declines. I just don't care. I don't care. Excuse me. It makes no difference to me. I don't care about price declines. If my stuff goes down 20% tomorrow, I don't care. I'm going to be out there buying. I hope the market goes down 20 or 30 or even 40%. I hope it does. I'll be buying a ton more. And my capital goes that much further. So yeah, all about it. LV, teach me. Matt treated himself to a professional haircut, deserving it. Yeah. Quarantine messes you up a little bit. So being in quarantine and not having been able to get a real haircut for a year because we couldn't go to places. Yeah, it was a real problem. Yep, it was a real problem for sure. Joan Gentili, 121, love it. Thank you. Congrats. What is your favorite type of investment property? Duplex, single family rental, 4-unit. I like side-by-side duplexes, 3-bedroom, 2-bath per side. So I don't do any really single family. The numbers never cash flow in my market. So out of my 41 buildings, only one of them, excuse me, two of them are single family homes, only two. And they actually, one of them I bought 18 years ago. One of them I bought 18 years ago, and the other one was part of a package that I separated off as a single family. I did a lot line adjustment, did a survey, second, pushed that one off, basically made it outside the package. And that's how I got a single family. So it wasn't a single family that I purchased. So my favorites are 4 1.5s, 4-bedroom, 1.5 baths. Yep, because 4 1s are usually what they are. You can add a half bath under the stairs, which I do in all of mine. So you have a second bathroom, a toilet, and a sink. So all of mine are 4 1.5s. And those are my favorites. Those are my favorites. There's never any problem with parking. There's never, you've got the extra bathroom, or I can add the extra bathroom. I prefer to buy 4 1s because I then create the value of adding that other bathroom. And that second, having that second toilet, yeah, it makes it real easy. So it's really good stuff. And again, Matt, the lumberjack landlord, 121 units, just closed one on Friday. If you're new to the channel, super pumped to have you here. Please ask questions. There is no stupid question. There really, truly isn't. We answer every question, from brand new newbie, I'm just considering real estate, all the way up to, hey, we own 100 units, and you know, what product are you using right now for X, Y, or Z? The whole spectrum. Because I'm a hands-on self-managing landlord. And it's literally just me and my wife, and then we have a couple of contractors that we use consistently. So happy to answer any questions that you guys have. So Joe, that's what I like. I like the duplexes. Me personally, I like the duplexes because you can buy them with lower money down debt. And the mortgage really typically conforms to a single family mortgage product, as opposed to the 3s and the 4s. Now you're looking at heftier down payments. If I'm starting out my journey, I want a 4, because I'm going to do the 4321 cheat code to wealth, house hacking, that I have a video on my channel about. That's kind of that 4321 program I created. That's, excuse me, that's my favorite. Oh, that's old. I mean, still not bad though. Chris Webb, good morning from Central Virginia. Good morning, Chris. Sammy Farho, good morning. REI Center, should I have an attorney ready to read over these closing documents? I don't know what it's in your state. So in your state, yes, it may be, but also in your state, they might allow for closing companies. So for me, depending on the deal, I'll use an attorney or I'll use a closing company. Really depends on the deal for me. I have both options. So yeah, it really depends on what your state, what they require, and what you feel comfortable with. It's not some states you have to use attorneys, like Massachusetts. In New Hampshire, we have the options of a much less expensive closing company versus a closing attorney, or only going through a closing attorney. Don and Bev Perkins, monthly annualized sticky inflation is over 8. Yep. So barring food costs dropping 50%, we're stuck with 8 for a long time. Yep. The coming down for sticky will be slow as the going up was. I think it's going to be slower. It's going to be slower. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be that speed. I think it's going to be even slower. So I agree. Yep. Chris Webb, I found a 4-plex. Oh, awesome. That could allow my wife and I to live for free. I love it. It's been on the market for 30 days. I'm trying to get in touch with the owner now. I love it. I love it. I love it. That's an awesome deal. That's an awesome, those are, I mean, from an opportunity perspective, that's what you're looking for, right? You're going to live for free. You're probably going to make a little bit of money too, but every month that you're saving, not paying a mortgage, you're actually then stuffing that money into an account. So 12, 18 months from now, you likely have enough money to buy your next, and you can go from a 4 to another 4, or a 4 to a 3. That's going to be magic for you. That's awesome. Congratulations. Let me know how that goes. Would love to hear the details. Tom Kine, I like the video you and Dion put up. Put out. I hope you do more team up vids. Thank you. Yeah, we definitely will. Now that he's retired. Now that he's retired, I feel like it's where in the world is Dion McNeely. Carmen San Diego. He's giving her a run for her money. He's awesome. I love him like a brother. He's the best. He sent me the Pink Panther message. For those of you who don't know, Dion retired in the last couple weeks. And so he mocks me almost every day about retiring or not retiring. What's really actually very funny is that some days I have to remind him that I didn't get the Pink Panther message. And I said, you do realize it's less funny when I have to remind you to mock me. I don't mind doing it, but go for it. So yeah, so it's really cool. Let's see. Kenor. Hi, Matt. Hi, Kenor. Pringles, which are not available here. Oh, no. Oh, you know what's really funny? Funny story about these types of Pringles. These are spicy barbecue, and they're the wavy ones. They sold out in our area for probably 2 months or something. Crazy, crazy. They sold out for 2 months. And so they just got them back in. And so, yeah, we've got 3 cans. Yeah, spicy. My daughter loves spicy. My son can't stand it. So yeah, pretty cool. LV, teach me. Prayers going up for your little girl and family. Thank you very much. Yeah, we're very blessed. So we're excited. Excited for August 1st. And the news is what the news is and will be. The Fed is broke. Stop with it. Okay. We need high interest rates, government to stop spending, and tax increase on the middle class. Yeah. I wouldn't worry about it. All that stuff's going to happen. All of it's going to happen. Happy the family's doing good. Thank you, Sam Farho. Kenor, but the risk for worldwide economy is amazing. Yeah, definitely is. Yeah, for sure. Yep, that's where I think Uneducated Economist does a great job. I think he really understands all the moving parts. So yeah, there's definitely going to be, I mean, it definitely appears at this point that there's going to be a level of a global recession for sure. And that's going to be much deeper in some places. Right on cue. Thanks, buddy. That's Dion giving me that here. If I do that, that's what he sends me. Pink Panther sleeping. Thank you. Better not be texting driving, bub. So yeah, so I think, yeah, they definitely going to be an impact on the worldwide economy for sure. You've got countries like Sri Lanka for sure. It's going to be very interesting. One of the things that the Uneducated Economist and I talked about, through email was the fact that because they have a bunch of debt due in US dollars, they need dollars. And so the problem is that China, Russia, they carry a bunch of US dollars as well. So the narrative could be that it's the US that's doing this to everybody else, whereas it's really the strong dollar and the fact that so much is traded in dollars. But that China can sit there and they're not doing anything with the yuan. They're not doing anything with the digital yuan. They're trading in American dollars. And so it can look like it becomes America's issue. So we'll see. We'll see. I mean, I worry about the things that I can control, which isn't a whole lot, and just making sure that on a real estate deal that I do, I buy if the numbers are great. It's just that simple. Don and Bev Perkins, I should say we're stuck with over 8 on government number for a while. I agree. Actually might be flatter sooner. Yep. Especially if rents get downward pressure like Mike thinks. So I think that the number reporting is so far behind. So I think that number, even when people are going to be looking and going, why is that number still going up? It's because they're still so far behind. So I think that number continues to go up. I don't think it goes flat for a while. Joe Gentili, house hacking much easier before you buy the wife the house she wants. Yes. Listen up, gentlemen, and do it right. Don't make the same mistake I did. We were married for 11 years before we bought a single family house. There was no roommates, 11 years. But she knew what the plan was. We agreed to it. She knew what the plan was. We worked on the plan. And I said, it allowed us to put her through college. She went back to school. It allowed for us to put her through college and for her not to have to work while we did that, because we could survive on my income because we were house hacking. So it gave us a lot of flexibility. LV, teach me, Siberia, that's where Dion is? No, he says New Hampshire is Siberia. And I sent Julie and I think I sent it to Dion. It's only a 10-degree difference between the two places, annualized weather. 10 degrees. That's it. So he calls it Siberia. But I mean, maybe it's just because he's retired now and he likes to be warmer. I understand that. 10 degrees warmer. Jenny, good morning. Good morning, Jenny. Good to see you. Or good to have you. I can't see you. Tom Kine, hey, I'm 49 and house hacking with roommates. Well, roommate since I booted one. Was that the one that turned your kitchen into a pond? But yeah, I'm telling you, it's great. Tom is doing it right, but to Tom's credit too, he's also not home a ton. And so if you're somebody that's on the road a lot and you're not home very often, like that's a beautiful thing. That's what Dion does a lot. He's not home a lot. So how cool does that roommate feel about the fact that Dion takes a 7 or 8 week vacation? Like that person basically has the house to themselves for 7 or 8 weeks, and that happens multiple times a year now. Like, holy cow, it's kind of like living alone. So eventually, Dion, they might ask you to move out. Robert Farinelli at Dion Talk Financial Freedom. LOL. There is a brunch in Rollinsford that happens once a month at noon. The third Sunday of the month that I'm invited to, I volunteer to be your sub. What is that? I don't know about that. I don't know about that brunch. Is it a real estate meetup group? I don't know. There's one I got kicked out of. It was kind of funny. Is he real? Hello, Matt. Thanks for all you do. Question. Is it fair to say the capacity to find a deal somewhat constrained by seller's equity? So on the 50-40-10, absolutely 100%. On the seller financing, absolutely 100%. On just a normal deal, not necessarily. Because I've seen properties that were purchased in 2018, 2019, and they're coming back to market. They've got decent equity in them. I've even seen a couple that were, I know, flips. They bought them in 2020 and 2021, and they put them back, back on the market. Excuse me. So I've seen that. Yeah. So not necessarily constrained. It can be different. So yeah, not necessarily constrained. But for a 50-40-10, yeah, definitely. You're hitting the nail right on the head. That's exactly right. Rob, good morning, Rob. I have an idea for a new game. Call it Where's Dion? Yes. Well, you'll know because he'll take a selfie with a daddy pun. That's awesome. Let's see. Julie Anderson, no Section 8 for me. It's not about the tenants. It's about working with the government. I've been there, done that. Great big nope. Yep. So there's perks to it and there's minuses to it for sure. I think it's almost can also be part of a landlord's personality type. So Julie, we know hard vote against the government, not interested, based on what she said there. Others say, you know what, I'll take the guaranteed pay or the guaranteed rent. So that's really where it really, just like anything else, I always talk about investing based on your personality, right? So it's like, is Airbnb a fit for you? It's not a fit for me because I don't want anything to do with making sure that somebody's 3-day vacation was amazing, because then I'm living my life on for them all the time. Even a superhost, same thing, because if that superhost has a problem that they can't manage, I'm going to get the phone call. So I get it. It's just not something for me. And it's not that you can't make a lot of money at it. It's not that it's a bad model. None of those things. It's just personality doesn't fit me. I like slow and steady winning the race, long-term rentals, 90+% of my tenants sign back up. So yeah, it's all kind of good. But yeah, that's where it really does differ. Mandy W, congrats on 121. How much time do you spend each week on managing the properties? So that's a great question. So not 2 or 3 hours a month like Dion, not that little. But I was trying to do the math. So he has 16 units. So we're basically 8x that. So if we're 8, because I was trying to kind of figure out like, okay, are we 16 hours? I would say that we're probably around that. In all honesty, we're probably around that. Unless we are doing rehabs, but we're always doing rehabs. That's part of our game. So because we're always doing rehabs, it's probably 20 hours a week, I would say. But the majority of that is finding product, we're transitioning tenants is a big one. These are inherited tenants. Some of them have been great. Some of them are awful. And so the ones that are awful, we're going to have the conversation with them of this is what the terms are. And if you don't want to play, like, we're cool with that. No problem. And we'll work with you and we'll give you some time to find a better place. In your eyes, that fits what you want better. And so, yeah, so right now we're probably 20 to 30 hours a week, I'd say, but just we have a ton of projects going on, a ton of tenant transition. I think we inherited, out of our 400 tenants, I think we inherited about 80 last year. So it's 80 people that we don't know. And so we've, as we bought the properties, we kind of give them time, see what they're like to work with, see what their maintenance requests are like. And it's not that if you make a maintenance request, you're no longer a desirable tenant. It's that, like, change my light bulb or that sort of thing, right? Or like the baby cries every morning at 7 a.m. Like that's an environment thing. That's nothing I can fix. So that's where so hopefully that answers the time thing. But yeah, I'd say right now it's 20 to 30 hours a week, because we're doing so much rehabbing work, and we're not doing the work ourselves. We're just coordinating all the crews, getting them in, getting them out, getting product ordered, getting paid. It's really managing a business at this point, but we'll see what happens. There's ebbs and flows to it. There were probably, a couple, 2-3 years ago, I'd say we probably spent 20 hours the first week, or 15 to 20 hours the first week of the month. This is probably 2 or 3 years ago. Maybe 15 hours the first week of the month. And then over the course of the rest of the next month, it might be 5 hours. It was pretty small after we got through like the week of payments and, the monthly payment to the different contractors that we kind of have set up monthly. A majority of our guys are, because they do so much regular work for us, it's just like invoice. And instead of paying every single invoice and creating a bunch of extra paperwork for them and a bunch of extra from us, they'll wait, and like the plumber, he'll send us a list. Here's everything that I did this month. Perfect. And then we just cut them a check. So that's why it comes once a month. It's not like they send us something and then we wait a month to pay them. We pay them right when we get that stuff. So great question. Dividend Dave, house hacking small multi is the way to go. Yep. To exponentiate wealth growth. Yes. Yep. In the future, my wife and I want to get a multifamily where one unit is reserved for STR. Then we short-term rental. Then we can block off time and snowbird. Yeah. I love the idea. And once you've built that infrastructure, you'll probably do another STR, short-term rental for those of you unfamiliar with the acronym. Shamir Bless, howdy. Good morning, Shamir. Good to have you. Robert Farinelli, when you buy a unit, how often do you replace kitchen cabinets, replace cabinet doors, or just paint them? What factors go into place? So that's a great question. So the main factor is, if we take over a unit that's vacant, we go through it. Floors, paint. If the kitchen's just like, it's an all right kitchen. Nope, we just rip it out. We just rip it out and put a new one in. Because of the return on capital that I get on replacing the kitchen, doing the cabinets, doing my granite counters, upgrading the appliances. Like, I'm usually taking a rent from, let's say, $1,300 to $1,500 up to $2,000 or $2,100. Like, the return on capital is less than 18 months. So if it's vacant, we do that. If it's not vacant, we work with the tenant. We do essentially the binder strategy, but through text, but we don't do that right away. We wait. We want to kind of give them 60, 90, 120 days just to see if they like us, if we like them, if they complain about stuff all the time, about little stuff. Their houses, stuff breaks. And so I don't fault them for calling me 3 times if they, whatever, if the, furnace stopped working, like, that's not their fault. So it's really being able to delineate between, what is kind of over the top, like changing a light bulb, or, are you going to put any flowers in that flower bed? Like, yeah, we'll get to it, but you know, it's like we got asked that in April because we had 1 week of warm weather. We're like, yeah, but if we plant them and they die, like we want to wait until we get into May or end of April where we know we're not going to have any freezing nights. So we just like to try and get to know them, try and have them get to know us to see what it fits. Let's see. So hopefully that answered the question, Robert. Cash flow, Johnny Ramirez. What's up, real estate freaks? What's up, my man? Good to have you. Tom Kine, get your likes in. This guy deserves some love. Hey, appreciate you, Tom. Thank you very much. Always accepting likes. Angel R, looking fresh, man. I thank Nicole. I thank Nicole in a shower. It's good. It was tough going a year with no haircut. That was tough, but we made do. We figured it out. John Doe, finally done with my 6-month rental renovation. Awesome. Tenant is in. Awesome. Enjoying my first Sunday off with an Irish coffee and the lumberjack. Love you, bro. Thanks for everything. John Doe, I appreciate you, my friend. I'm so glad you reached the finish line. And right, it's so rewarding because we ran hard. I get it. We ran hard for like a few years. We ran really, really, really hard, quite frankly, ragged. Because every single one of those house hacks I bought during the Great Recession or after the Great Recession, they were all in rough shape. So every single one was move-in, project weekend, project weekend, project weekend, project. It was always Home Depot. It was Home Depot or Lowe's, Tuesday nights, Thursday nights, lumber yards on Saturdays. It was hard. So I completely get it. Congratulations to you. There's nothing better than reaching the finish line. And then you just have to make sure you're kind of emotionally in the right like headspace to just say, do that again. So yeah, totally get it. Congratulations. Good for you. I'm happy to help you guys. Shamir Bless, do you think government will bail out housing just like the beginning of COVID and the housing market crash? Give me some more details, Shamir, only because that could mean a number of different things. And I want to make sure to answer your specific question. Angel R, how much do you typically spend residing is what I saw. Residing a duplex. It depends because I have duplexes that are as big as like, I think the largest duplex I have is like 4,200 square feet. It's a huge duplex, like huge, because it's 2,100 square feet aside. It usually ends up, it really depends on the building size, my man, really depends. So I wouldn't want to give you a number because the thing that you need to ask for is what are they? So number one, what siding are they using? I like to use not the bottom, not the next one up, but kind of the next one up, which is like one down from the top. It's just thicker gauge. Then putting it's less likely to warp with sun. And are they doing insulation behind it? Number one or two. Do you have any special patterns or is it just like your normal stock pattern? Because sometimes in like the gable ends, which is a roof goes like this, and this is the gable is basically what completes the bottom of the triangle right here. So that section I'll do like in a different like vertical pattern as opposed to the horizontal pattern. That's a big trend now. And it does kind of set the place apart for sure. In fact, if you guys look at 2 Whittier Falls Way in Dover, New Hampshire, you guys can actually take a look at that project. That was one that I did. That was actually my house for a while. I lived there for just about 2 years, and then we sold it. We lived there for about 2 years. Yep, and then we sold it and bought our house. So the typical spend, I would say it really again depends. I can't give you a number, but I would ask them what they're kind of charging per square. A square is a 10-foot by 10-foot area. That's how you buy siding, is by the square. And so if it's by the square, if the siding, I don't know what the last siding used to be like $104 a box. Now I think it's in the 120s, 130s. But if you figure that number out, then figure out if they're doing any siding. Then there's soffit, which is basically wall here, roof line here. This is the soffit that tucks underneath up underneath there. There's soffit, and then there's also, if you're doing around the windows, you can be doing metal, which is they use what's called a metal break to basically create a seam. Then they wrap it up, and then these special tin nails or special nails for the tin to put that stuff in. But then they also make like plastic ones that you can do as well. The other thing too is if you're going to reside the whole thing, are you stripping it down to the one underneath, or are you just going on top of it? All those, of course, are options. So it really matters kind of what you're looking at project wise. Marisha Ninehauser, hello. Hi, good to have you. Shamir Bless, I went to Portsmouth for July 4th for the fireworks. Yep, seen some large modern development. I'm surprised how expensive Portsmouth and Rye is. Yeah, they're nuts. Like, so Portsmouth is the town south of me. They have $3 and $4 million condos. They have there's a house. Yeah, there's like 10, 12, $15 million stuff in Rye. Yeah, for sure. It's proximity to the ocean, low property taxes. It's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. Yep. It's a lot of things. But yeah, it's a very expensive area. Yep. LV Teach Me. John Doe, congratulations. Agreed. All right, Soners, should I have a handyman or contractor look over the property during the inspection period? So you can bring a handyman. One of the things that's good about bringing a handyman is that they're going to be able to tell you, yes, if somebody says this is something that needs to be done, if the inspector is calling something out, you can even take a couple pictures and then send it to a handyman if you already have that relationship. But handyman, it really depends on what the job is, yeah, it just depends on what the job is. I have multiple handymen that I use, but they're really good at others. They're really good at some stuff and they're not as good at others. So they can give me a better price. REI Stimmers. Oh yeah. So yeah, that's what I would do, REI. Julie Anderson, can you please give us your opinion about interest rates over the next 5 years? Oh dear God. By the way, I don't have feelings. That's awesome. Me either. I don't get, if I get annoyed with somebody, I just go surgical, and it's that they deserved it. They earned it. 5 years? No, no, only because I have the way that there's just too many depending ons. I think that the Fed's going to raise rates. I think they're going to raise rates eventually too high. I think that when they do eventually raise them too high, then it's going to create a bunch of demand destruction. Then the demand destruction is going to start to come in, and then they're going to have to start lowering rates. That's what I see happening. The time frame of which, I just think that we're going to be in a rising rate environment for the rest of this year and into next. And I think that they're going to have to ignore a little bit what's going to be going on in the housing market. And I think they're going to be paying more attention to people's 401ks. That's why for me, in all honesty, I don't really worry about where rates are going to be 5 years from now. I really don't. I really focus on, is it a really good deal now? If I'm getting 30-year fixed rate debt, is it a really good deal right now? If it is a really good deal right now, then let's do that. If it's one of my commercial properties, meaning that it's 5 units or greater, I didn't move all that stuff, but only because I had conversations with both banks. And I just said, let's just say rates are 10. And they're like, we hold that paper. So yeah, we'll figure something out because we don't want to own your property or take it back. So we'll see what they say. I mean, that's kind of one of the better things too about, I'm not working with Citi or JP Morgan. I'm working with a smaller $1 billion to $2 billion bank with a balance sheet that they control. They're more conservative. But yeah, I think I bought a lot of them in a way where the margins were so good. If you're 20-30% margin, and we're paying down a lot of those properties, the really big ones with the adjustable rate mortgages, because we know they're going to pop. In 5 years, I'm not getting a 3.75 rate. It's probably a 6.75 rate. The difference is I actually can still make that. I just don't make a lot in the building anymore. But we'll have drastically paid down the debt. And so that's kind of the position we're in. So I have a building as an example that I think I owe about, I think I owe right around 8 something on it, I think. And my rate's 3.75. I've got 4.5 years left on that loan. That building nets probably 6,000 or 7,000 a month. So that's $70,000 a year it nets over call it 4 more years. That's another $280,000. That's if we suck all of our profit back into it. We won't do that, but we'll stick a significant amount of profit back into it. So my guess is in the next, my guess is in the next 5 years, I probably owe 6 and change on that building, which drives about, yeah, I mean, it drives about about $5,000 a month net profit. So no, is it more? I think it's actually more than I think about it. Yeah. So it's really just about the deal and then making sure that we recognize if the reset's 10, we still make money on that building. We still make tons of money on that building, or we still make good money on that building. We just don't make it by the bucket like we do right now. But rents for us have never gone down. They've only gone a little bit flat. And there's still a ton of, if I finish the rent raises in that building, I'm probably going to be netting 7,000 a month would be my guess. So now you're talking 100,000 a year. So we'll pay down that debt is likely what we'll do. Just based on what we think. I think that the rates are going to be higher in the next few years. Yeah. Pallavi Patel, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Pallavi. Matt Bittner, can you imagine where inflation could go if we have a busy Gulf of Mexico hurricane season? Yeah, right. Or a geopolitical situation gets worse in Ukraine. Yep, are referring to oil prices. Yeah, I do. I have a little bit of a unique perspective. I have family in oil, some friends in oil. Yeah. So, and when I say in oil, I mean in energy. One of them works for, or a couple of them work for an oil burning plant. They actually use oil to create the energy for the area that they service. And then a couple of friends that are rig workers. Yeah. So yeah, 100%. Yeah, scary. John Doe. Thanks, LV. Yep, we celebrate wins here. Clinton Roberts. Matt, don't let Dion and Mike peer pressure you. Don't retire until you want to. My answer is that Mike and I tried to peer pressure Dion into taking a HELOC out on his property when he still had a W-2 job. We tried to do the same. So yeah. Sam Farho, no more inventory yet in Texas. Yeah, so we saw a very, very, very minimal increase. We saw, let's see, we went from four weeks and 3 days of inventory to like 5 weeks and 6 days, or 6 weeks and 2 days. It was something like that. So massive percentage increase, but still unbelievably ridiculous tight supply. Yep. Matt, hi Matt. Hi Rivera. How are you? I see you all the time on Facebook. Thanks for asking my question. When do you plan on joining Dion on retirement? I don't know. TBD. Don't have a hard date yet. There's a couple things. Dion, as he said in his video, he kind of finished up a couple big things that his company was working on. I'm kind of in the same spot, finishing up a couple big things that I've been working on for some time. I'm an executive in the company that I work in. And so just trying to finish those things up, make sure that I left it better than when I got it. And then we'll make the right decision. So yeah, it'll be 45-6-14. That's the day before Mike retired. He retired at 45-6-15. So I'm looking at 45-6-14, which is January 7th of 2023. So maybe in the next 6 months, we'll see. If I'm finished, I don't feel any pressure at all, truly. No pressure at all. So yeah, not sure, but that's kind of what it looks like right now. Great question, Lila. Rob, Dion's lazy. He needs to automate his mocking or outsource it to a virtual assistant. He's cheap too, so I don't think see that happening. Actually, that's the perfect way to spend some of your excess monthly cash flow, Dion. Get a virtual assistant. James Wells, can you talk about wish list pricing? Yep, looking for our forever home, 600K. Okay. Houses that we're selling for 400K are the same block in 2019. Okay. Are we nuts for even looking right now? Please help. LOL. Thanks. We are house hacking a duplex right now, but she is ready to go. I get it. I get it. So I'll share with you what I'm going through right now in my search in Vegas. Property came on that I loved. Thing is awesome. It meets all of our needs. It's a great fit. It's not like 8 out of 10 of the boxes. It was 10 out of 10 of the boxes, but I watched it because I'm still just learning the market. I am not going to move just because I found a 10 out of 10. Not going to do it. It's still disciplined. So it came out, it was 1050. 7 days later, it was reduced to 950. I'm like, holy cow. Then I was like, what did that thing sell for a couple of years ago? Because I remember it sold a couple of years earlier. So this is just last month. That house sold for 550. 550 at the end of 2018. 550. So I think that price range, the move up buyer in Vegas, is going to be in trouble. I agree with Brian Lebo. I think that's one of the markets that actually more than corrects. I think that market probably crashes. And crash is just more than 20%. Is it 30%? Is it 40%? I have no idea. But because I don't have to buy, I'm just waiting. For me, I'm just waiting. I don't have to buy. It's a second home. You're already in a place that you own. I get that she wants to go. And so I think it's just, I mean, that's really a personal decision. For me, I made an agreement with Ashley, Mrs. Lumberjack, that we would move into a single family home when we got pregnant, when she got pregnant. I just looked pregnant. And so that's what we did. We really started looking heavy and hard then. So we looked heavy and hard, and we were just trying to find the right place and blah, blah, blah. And then we found the right place, and it was the perfect one for us, for what we wanted. And so that took us probably 6 months. And the market was much different than that. Was 2018. 2018? Yeah, 2018. Yeah, 28. That was the end of 2018 is when we did that. Yep. So, yeah, end of 2018. Yep. Was it? Yeah, 2018. No, 2017. Yeah, that was the end of 2017. So anyway, so we found it. So I don't know that I have I don't know that I have the right solution for you, but that's just what we're doing. Rates can be 8%, 9%, 10%. They can be whatever. It doesn't make a difference to me. I'm not buying something based on payment. For me, for the buying a second home, I'm buying the best deal. And because it's a nondescript timeline, it really, truly, I believe that market has plenty to correct. I just do. So that's what we're doing. Don't know if that helps you at all. Hopefully it does. Dion, today, Idaho. See, there you go. Idaho. There he is. Sell next day. You can scale Section 8 houses easy. You can scale anything. I mean, I could scale non-Section 8 houses easily. I don't think there's nothing to Section 8 that makes it scale easier than non-Section 8. There's nothing to it that makes it scale faster. Christopher Fitzgerald, after a haircut, when you see yourself in a rearview mirror, damn, I look good. The baby didn't recognize me because I had just a ton of hair. The baby didn't recognize me. It was kind of funny. She's just kind of like, and then she put her hand on my face and then she smiled. And I'm like, you can see my face. She just, I don't know. I think, it was my beard. Sorry, my beard. Yeah, that was weird. It's kind of funny though. Robert Farinelli, it's a new movers potluck. Oh, it's a new movers potluck brunch for porcupines, open to anyone basically who knows about it. Certain people not welcome. Oh, interesting. Okay. Easy real. Thanks, Matt. You're welcome. So it's happening right now, but because reasons, gas cost, I'm not there. Gotcha. Sell next day. Who is we? Keep saying we. Who is we? Who is we? Mrs. Lumberjack, my wife. We're a team. Yep, we are a team. REI trainer. Hello, Matt. How many Section 8 units do you have? Pure Section 8. Pure Section 8 is about 10%, but we have about 13% of our unit count, or 12. So yeah, so we're about 10 units, a little around 10 units for Section 8 and around 13 or 14 for emergency response, i.e. Another landlord sold their building, jacked up the rent. Those people were going to be homeless. We work with emergency response to basically place them while they then look for another place. So overall right now, as far as like government paid units, it's probably about a quarter of our portfolio right now, not including our military guys. And we have that's probably another probably 5%. It's a smaller percentage because we don't have, smaller percentage. We don't have a base per se. Robert Farinelli, so does location play a factor in kitchen replacement? If I get a unit in West Manchester, I don't think I want to go and put all the way. I'm thinking paint, butcher block, and handles instead of full rehab. Yeah, I think so. I think it depends on the area. I think it depends on, market rents. I think look at your competition in the area, right? Look at your competition in the area. Don't over improve a unit. For me, we've got it to the point where replacing the kitchen cabinets and putting in the granite is not that much more expensive than sanding, painting the old ones, putting in new counters. It's not markedly more expensive. It's like an extra couple $1,000, $2,000-3,000 maybe for us. And I don't look at that being that much more expensive when the difference in the product. And I'm easily going to be, again, I'm still going to have payoff in, 18 to 24 months on something like that, even in a C area. Yep. Bobby Simpson, looking at putting granite in kitchen. Yep. Cabs are 16 years old and in good shape. Okay. Since granite will last so long, would you change cabinets now, not knowing you will have to before change the countertops again? So that's a really good question, Bobby Simpson. I appreciate you. New name for asking the question, but that's a really good question. Here's what I would tell you is it's more expensive, but yeah, I changed the cabinets. Yeah, because likely, so here's the things that I kind of figure, right? For me as an investment property, I plan on not selling my properties. So when the tenant moves out, it's still always it might have nice countertops, but it's still always going to have the old, less nice, certainly less new cabinets, right? So if I'm going to go to that end where I'm putting granite in the kitchen, I'm already spending a couple, $2,000-3,000 on granite. I'm going to spend the $4,000 or $5,000 on cabinets, just them. Because sanding, painting, you're still going to likely you don't have slow closed doors. You likely don't have slow closed drawers. You likely have older handles or knobs. And it's going to completely redo the place and give it a completely different look. Do you get extra money on the rent for that? And my answer almost always is when I have a brand new kitchen that I've just redone, that's the picture I lead with in the ad. Because people see the kitchen are like, holy cow, if the kitchen's that nice, how nice is the rest of the place? And then what's the rest of the place? It's bedrooms, it's paint color and solid core doors and, and LVP floors, laminate vinyl plank floors. So I think that's just what can bring people in. It looks beautiful. And then they think a certain way about the building. To me, not saying that it's the right way to feel, but a lot of times when people put in new counters and didn't take the time to change out cabinets, I'm like, am I going to be constantly chasing this guy to like do it right, do the right thing? Or is it always going to be like, no, we'll do this, but we won't do that because that one's too expensive, right? So Bobby, let me know if that helps you out. I'd love your feedback. Cash flow Johnny Ramirez, my bank now only offers ARMs for investor loans. Yep. Told you it's coming. It's coming. It's coming. Find a different bank. I mean, not dump them, but find another bank. Everybody should have at least a couple banking relationships for sure. Jernil Diaz. Hey, Jernil. Morning, Matt. Are you familiar with the process after one gets a verbal agreement from a seller to do seller financing or subject to? Am I familiar with the process? So for me, I don't believe I have anything until I have a signed paper agreeing to something. Rochelle Davis, Pace Morby's TC, started a company called Constant Close, who coordinates with the seller from in contract to closing. Okay. Could be a great guest on the show. Sure. Probably I'd love to have her, would interview her in a second. But Mike Zuber knows Pace, knows Laura. They have a relationship. I wouldn't want to step on his toes in that way. So now if she just likes bearded men better, sure, I'll happily have her on the show. Yeah, I would love to. Yep. We've got some good ones coming. We've got some good guests coming that I'm really excited to have. Robert Farinelli, gas has been going down, but diesel has not been. True story. Yep. True story. Yep. Canor, if you have $400,000 for invest retirement in 5 years is possible. $400,000. Yeah. I mean, it really depends on what your monthly nut is. It really depends on to what level you want to live your life. So there's a lot of variables there. For me, sure. Yeah, I could. Yep. Because I've got 121 rental properties. I drive an 07 Pontiac Grand Prix. Car's worth like $4,000. Gets my kids to and from. It's safe. It's reliable. So yeah, so we'll see. But yeah, possible. It's definitely possible. Cash flow Johnny Ramirez. In my market in Texas, single family averages my 7% yield. Yeah, should I keep looking at single family? I mean, I keep on looking because the market's going to shift, right? But this is why I love duplexes. It's the same loan structure, same debt that you take on for a single family, but duplexes a lot of times can be hard to find. I mean, again, in my market, I can look at 300 single family homes that are for sale in one of my cities. They have 6 duplexes for sale. 6. I mean, that's a 50-to-1 ratio. So 50-to-1 ratio, there's 50 single family homes for every one. That makes it hard. But when I get a deal, when I find a deal, I crush it. Like I get it. And it's again, there's stuff, 3 of them went under agreement this week. They were all too skinny for me. I just not interested. I'm not gonna, and that's even with getting some concessions from the bank at like a 5.5 rate. So yeah, they just weren't clean. Under 10, hard to come forward. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I think you start looking at, if you've got that part of the market mastered, Johnny, if you've got that part of the market mastered, I'd be looking at singles, dupes and tries and see if it's another asset class in the same area. I always go different asset class in the same area before I change areas, because I'm already doing the work. I already know the neighborhoods. I already know the agents. I already know the handyman. I already know all that stuff. Right. So it's just value in the network when you look at that. So yeah. Phil Nealon, thanks for the review videos lately. Do you use anything specific for fan lights or fixtures in a bathroom? Braun is pretty good. It's nothing, there's nothing real different there. Those exhaust fans that you just get at like Home Depot, I just look at what that is. And and buy it probably on Amazon, but I look to see if I'm getting a decent deal. Usually it's just a more modern looking one. So nothing really from a bathroom fan perspective. From a lights perspective, like the additional lighting, I still like the pancakes. I still like these things. Still like them. If they die, it's unclipping, and I unclipped and I swap it. Give a splinter on my finger. I feel it anyway. So yeah, I still like the pancake lights in the bathrooms. Daniel G86. Matt, what's your favorite Netflix show movie right now? Netflix. I don't know. I'm a big documentary guy. I watch a lot of documentaries. A lot of documentaries. Like, I know the series right now, The Staircase. I know that's like everyone's loving that. I actually watched that like 5 years ago or 6 years ago when it came out. So I'm a big documentary guy. Yep. I watch a lot of documentary television. So boring. Andrew P, out and about, but we'll catch the live later. Thanks, Lumberjack. Thanks, Andrew P. Appreciate you stepping in. Robert Farinelli, for me, I would do everything but the new countertop myself. I would be saving a lot, just paint and elbow grease, a gallon of Zinn's bin shellac. Yep. 1 gallon of Benjamin Moore Advance. Yep. 2 gallons of paint. Yep. I was going to say, you're not going to get away with 1. Yeah. Bobby Simpson, I like your philosophy on the reason to change out the cabinets when installing granite. Thanks so much. You're very welcome, Bobby. I appreciate you asking the question. Glad I could provide some value to you. But yeah, I mean, it's that, I get it. That's an age-old thing. Like, we have an apartment that, if you follow me on Instagram, we have an apartment that we just posted. I'm not going to change out the cabinets and the counters there, but they're oak cabinets, and it's an older Formica countertop. But I want to keep it affordable too. So if I yank out that kitchen and put in granite, it's probably going to be $3 or $4 grand. And I'd like to stay at the price point that I'm at, because I like to have steps of graduating tenants, right? That they get like an entry level, something like that, that might be like 11 or $1,200 a month on a 1 bed. And then the next place that they want the higher end, they want the 2 bed, but they want the granite countertops, they want the cabinets, they want that stuff. Well, then that one's 17, right? But it's the step up. But at that point, they've got girlfriend, boyfriend, maybe started a family, and they want to start off something in a 2-bedroom. So I like to try and keep a percentage of my portfolio, kind of like that entry level, where we find somebody that's got an amazing credit score. They just don't make a ton of money. Sometimes those people stay, that fit in that kind of that credit box, an income box. Sometimes they stay forever and they don't ever want to move back up. We have somebody in one of those buildings now. I think been with us for like 8 years. He's got no intention of moving. He's like, nah, why would I move? I was like, I don't know. I don't know why you would move, but he loves it. So that's kind of why we do it the way that we do it. But yeah, really good question. Kenor, freedom is more important than big cars and so on. I agree. Freedom is far more important. Yep. I totally agree. Bobby Simpson, what types of interior doors do you use and why? 6-panel smooth or textured, solid or hollow? Great question. So I don't use 6-panel doors. I actually use Craftsman 3s. We'll do Craftsman video. Here it is. I still got to do the outlet one. Sorry, the shark bite one, guys. I went to go do it and I didn't have the right shark bite to show it to you. And I really want to show you all 3 shark bites that we use. Doors. All right, here's the abbreviated version, but I'll do a video on that for you, Bobby Simpson. So the doors that we use are Craftsman 3s. They're elegant. They're solid core. You can get them in a regular jam or a split jam. And they paint, when you spray or when you have a painter spray them, They look like glass. They're gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and they clean really well. So yeah, like dirt and things like that around the handle. Like we had a place that had not landscapers, and all around the handles on the doors were all filthy dirty when we got the unit back. We were able to literally go in there. We didn't have to repaint anything. It was just warm water and wiping them down, and they all came back beautifully. So really, really love the Craftsman 3. I'll show you a door. I'll actually do a video this week with one. Yeah, I actually have one of those here at my house because it's the new door that's going in my new studio. I'll show it to you. But yeah, Craftsman 3, solid core, and then depending on the application, solid jam or split jam. That's what we use. Anna K. Hey, Anna K. Good morning, Matt. Good morning, Anna. Good to have you. Jernil Diaz. What do you expect to happen in housing market for the next few months after this July 20 announcement? Great question. I have no idea because I don't know what the numbers are yet. I think the transactions continue to go down. I do. Our inventory is not, literally from 1 month to the next, it built like a few days. We're still in the place now where it's still massively a seller's market, big time. Anything like less than 3 months is really a seller's market, 3 or 4 months. Anything more than 3 or 4 months, kind of like we're getting into 5 months, now that starts to become a little bit of a buyer's market. But we have so long to go. Really, we have so long to go. Vegas is on average adding right around 80 a day. 80 net new houses a day are being brought to MLS in Vegas. A day, 80 a day. When I first started looking at that market earlier in the year, they had 1,800 homes in MLS. I want to say that was January or February. As of last week, they had well over 6,000 homes, triple. So do I think they'll keep on going at this rate? I do. I think that could hit easily. I think that could hit 8,000 or 10,000 homes. Yep. And I'm hoping the same for my area, but I don't think it will be. Excuse me. I think ours will be probably more next year. So I expect some areas to get a whole lot easier to buy something. But when you have a glut of supply and demand, when you have a glut of supply, not everybody, you have 3 options after you see that you have a glut of supply. Well, we don't really need to move. Let's just stay. Well, we've got a great mortgage rate and anything that we buy is not markedly better. Let's just stay. Or we have to sell. And you're going to get some of those people popping out where they have to sell. And that will get a deal done. We saw one that was a have to sell last week. It literally said motivated seller, bring an offer. They got a ton of offers. They got like over 50 offers and they just did best and final. What was really funny is the place still went for about what it should have gone for. There wasn't any discount. So while it said motivated seller where everybody got hot and bothered, it was, where did that end up? Guess where it ended up? Right around the price where it should have been. So the market rules. The market rules rule. Michael Lucas. Hey, Michael, thanks for showing up. I have a duplex with basements that I want to flip into apartments. The plumbing is all above grade. Do you have any experience with upflush toilets and also called macerating toilets? Thanks. So yes, I do with upflushes. Yep. Yes, I do have experience. Also pumps. So whereas you channel the concrete and you still put piping into the ground, and then it goes basically into a pump that then a sewage pump that then pumps it into the sewage line. So I have experience with those. Yep, you do. Really, the only thing that you have to watch there is making sure that you have that tuned up or that pump looked at least once a year. Because if that thing doesn't kick on and the tenant's not paying attention, messy. Yeah, it's never happened to me, but it happened to a good friend of mine. And we were like supposed to go do something, and he showed me a picture. He's like, dude. I was like, oh man. He's like, yeah, so not gonna come over today. Yeah, it happens. So yeah, I do have experience with them. They're good. They I don't remember the brand though. I don't remember the brand. There was one pump that we just got rid of. I got to find out the name of that. Actually, let me see if I can find the name of that brand. That brand was awful. Let's see. Give me just 1 second here. I'll tell you if I can find it. I'm pretty sure I can find it. It wasn't that long ago. Um, I didn't say the name in here, but we swapped a pump. So we had a pump that was like $1,200. We had a pump that was yeah, $1,200. We replaced the pump. Within a year, it failed. And it was $1,200 plus it was like 4 hours of plumbing to put it in to replace the pump and do all this other stuff, blah, 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 or 3 hours. So it was like a $1,600 bill, $1,600. Lasted a year, failed again. And I literally told the plumber, I go, here's the deal. And it failed in like month 13. I was like, absolutely not. We're never using that pump again. He's like, I totally agree. I already picked the other pump. He goes, this has been a pump that hasn't given me problems. He goes, this is the pump that we're going to use. So why we picked the other one? He goes, because I was replacing exactly what was there. And he goes, we shouldn't use those pumps anymore. I said, yeah, clearly. So we replaced that pump. It was actually like $400 less. And it's only been 3 months, 4 months, but it's worked great. So yeah, haven't had any issue with them. But just kind of clean it up. LV teach me. Good point. Invest based on your personality. Thank you, LV. Yeah, I just short term STRs are not for me. They just aren't. I recognize because I don't have the personality type where I can just let somebody else manage that process and feel good about that because my name's on it. And it's like the one vacation that the guy might get a year. And like if something's wrong or the neighbors are rowdy or I just yeah. I can do that with a long-term family or long-term rentals because I have more impact, right? With the tenants that are there in the building. So yeah, not something for me. I believe that it's kind of like if you made Michael Jordan a center, would he have been as good of a player? Of course not. He wouldn't have been. If you'd made him a center, he wouldn't have been as good of a player. And so I believe that based on the skills, talents, and abilities that you have, you find what your niche is, what you're really good at in the game, and then you just leverage those skills. Tom Kine, good question. I agree. That's all. Hey, that's all. Hey, Matt, I know that you previously mentioned that you were planning on investing in the stock market. What steps are you taking to get ready? The steps that I'm watching Mike's updates. That's one of the things I'm doing to get ready. And then the other thing is some other channels as well. For sure. That's basically it. Nothing more than that. Just research, but also talking to. I have what would we call him? A wealth advisor, I guess. I have one of those. But I've just never given him any money to play with in the market. He has a little bit, but it's yeah. So he'll get more to go out and do some more movement maneuvering based on the goals because he really builds the portfolio based on what your goal is. If he says, hey, if your risk is 90 as opposed to 10, then it's going to look different. So we'll customize something then, and then we'll kind of, talk through the different companies. But yeah, that's basically it. Just finally having conversations about that stuff. Just because I have enough cash flow at this point where it makes sense to put something in other stuff. But I'm also a gold and silver guy too. So that's why I'm educated economist and I get along so well. So yeah, we're gold and silver guys. Robert Farinelli. So for a kitchen, I have eating area and one of those enclosed kitchen and one of those enclosed kitchens. The light in the enclosed area is ugly and needs to go, but eating area is a ceiling fan. I think I mean, still pancake lights. Like you can leave the ceiling fan there and maybe upgrade the ceiling fan as far as if it's not a nice light. If it is a nice light, then I would just make sure that you get the lights past the blades. You can't see it in my office here, but I've got a ceiling fan going and we've got lights past the blades on each side. So I don't have the strobing effect. But that's what I would do. Yeah, that's what I would do. Those pancake lights, I still big fan. Would you keep the ceiling fan or replace the fan? Yeah. Yeah. So sorry, didn't see your second question, but that's what I would do. Cash flow. Hey, Matt, I've got a couple of vacant land plots. Yep. Do you think it would be worth building something for rent or build and sell? Oof, I don't know. So I've never built anything ground up. I'm waiting on watching the pricing, quite frankly. I would also be looking at, some of the modulars, like what do they allow? What would that look like? That way it's not a matter of going through a 6-month process or 8-month process. You can actually have modulars built that are just shells where it comes and shows up and you've got the style of the house. It's roofed, it's sided, it's windows. And then the interior is, and it's already, and all the wiring's already done, all the plumbing's already done, but it hasn't been sheetrocked. It doesn't have a kitchen in it. So you can buy them in various stages. So for me, because I can do some of those things much less expensively than what it would cost them to do it, I don't want their kitchen in it. I don't want, their lighting in it. So some of those things, like I said, so I would look at modular, what you can potentially get that would get you up and going quickly. I have a couple pieces of land. I'm going through the same kind of exercise because I don't know what the right answer is yet. Don't know what it is yet. But I will. Yeah. So I've got land right now, same thing. I'm just holding on to the land. And quite frankly, if we get the deep, dark recession everybody thinks that we're going to get, I'm going to have plenty of contractors to choose from to build something. And materials, I mean, copper is taking a dive, which is awesome because I have like 7 or 8 units I have to completely gut and rewire. Thank God. Wire's been nuts. Yeah. REI trainer, what do you use for toilets? Looking for less maintenance. Thanks for all you share, Matt. You're welcome. REI trainer. I did a video on it too. I didn't do a separate video on it. That was my problem. It's called a Viper toilet. Swear to you. Hold on 1 second. I can tell you. It is called Gerber Viper toilet. Gerber Viper toilet. That's what we use as our standard. It sounds funny to say, but I own over 100 Gerber Viper toilets. Yep, I own a ton of them. Gerber Viper toilet. Man, that's nuts. Peter Schiff. Hello, Peter Schiff. Newbie, do I buy primary first or rental? Where do I start? Thanks. Well, based on all the information that you've given me, here's where I would start. The first thing I would do is see if you like the idea of being a landlord. So I would look at my 4321 video, cheat code to wealth, 4321 video, look at that video, watch that video, and then feel free to post questions there. I'll answer them. But watch that video first. Gives you an idea of my strategy, how I would start out if I were starting out today. But that answers all your questions, or most of your questions, or at least create additional questions I'm happy to answer. So yeah, Peter Schiff, I would start there. Daniel G 86. These doors from Home Depot are really good, long lasting too. I've had them in a duplex for 5 years. They're great. Which doors? The Craftsman 3s. I love my Craftsman 3s, the solid cores. Those things are the nuts. They're awesome. They're awesome. Anna K, my buy box is below median price for single family home starter. Yep. Has absolutely no inventory. Yep. Nothing new is coming, just contracting. Yep. Opposite of what you and Mike are experiencing. Any idea what that means? So I don't do any single family homes at all, Anna K. Single families, I don't do any. I don't buy any. I only buy dupes, tries, and quads. That's it. Or I buy other bigger stuff, but my main focus is 2s, 3s, and 4s. No inventory in my market. I don't know what market you're in, but no inventory in my market. It's not coming. Nope, not coming. It's been slow, very slow, and not very steady. I think all 3 towns together, my entire market is less than 10. It's not good. It's less than 10. And the less than 10 that are there, I think 7 of them have been there for months because they are outrageously overpriced, like to the tune of they're on the market for like 800 and they're worth more like 6. Like, and that's not even to get 20% returns. That's to get like 8 to 9%, like market, good market returns. Yeah. So I would be patient. I don't think that I don't think it means anything because every market is hyper local. It just is. Mike's not bought a bunch of single family homes either because there's not any inventory really coming on. Not yet, but it will. It will start to happen. It'll start to happen. Depends on where in the cycle you are. I think New Hampshire might be towards the end. So I'm not looking at getting steals. I'm looking at getting great deals based on the math that I can use today, not trying to tell the future. That's all I'm doing. Tom Kine. Oh, maybe you and Dion can do a vid together on tenant turnover process, beginning with 60-day notice to tenant through whether they agree to new rent and lease, or their move out and your advertising application selection, placement, move in, and the upgrades, repairs, deposit management. So I like those ideas. Dion's, I think, only done it 4 times, right? Like that's really his claim to fame, is that he's only done that 4 times because he's lazy, but mainly because he has the binder process. And so he doesn't really have to do that. So we probably have probably 10 to 15 move outs a year, I think, right now, because we're inheriting a bunch of tenants that we're happy to let them go their own way. You and Dan together bouncing ideas and questions and your own how-tos in the video. Yeah. Dion, if you're still watching, let's do that. He's not still watching. Whatever, Dion. He's probably driving. LV, teach me any advice to get owner to lower LC down payment or consider master lease with option to buy balloon payment at the end of a term. Property on market for 180 days, 2-family flat. I just don't have to get lower. To buy balloon payment. LV, teach me, have you had a conversation with them? Have you had a conversation directly with this owner, or is it through agents? Santi, hi. Hey, Santi, how's it going? Jeremy Kirkwood, sounds like something I don't want to sit on. The Viper, LOL. Yeah, good afternoon, Matt. No, yeah, Jeremy. I mean, they're comfortable. They're comfortable enough. I've never gotten bit, so comfortable enough. But most importantly is they don't really clog. That's the really cool thing about them. They don't really clog. I'm not saying that if you're a tenant and you're watching, don't try to clog it. I'm just saying, thankfully, we don't have very many clogged toilets where it requires professional help. Drew A. Hey, Lumberjack, have you found any sub 2 or seller finance properties yet? Maybe. Not sub 2, but seller finance. Maybe. So found a couple. No deal yet. Trying to figure out if we can do a deal. I'm not as good as Pace. Pace probably would have closed the guy on the phone, but I couldn't. Just give me information and see something to think about. Yeah. So found a couple working, but nothing, I don't want to say guaranteed, nothing imminent. That's the word I'm looking for. Nothing imminent. That's all. Is there a video on your channel about a property walkthrough? Yep. Where you point out what kinds of things. Yep, there is. There's actually 2, that's all. You watch so first thing I would recommend is you watch my property walkthroughs. There's a series of them. I think it's actually called property walkthroughs. Dion, of course he's still watching. I'm keeping him awake. Nap time. Dion, isn't it nap time? And then, so yes, I do cover that. That's all in those walkthrough videos, but I also cover in my landlord product reviews. I've got 6 or 8 of those on the site now too. And there's 2 more coming this week. I didn't do this week because I had a bunch of other extra stuff I had to get done, but there are 2 more coming this week. Yeah, I'm going to do one on shark bites. I'm trying to do one on protective wear. The only challenge I'm having on the protective wear side is that my guys are using it. God, I got a splinter in my finger. I can't find it. Keep on going to the pain, but it's not. Driving me nuts. So yeah, that's all that stuff is in there. Yep. Tom Kine, he does a lot of that on his IG. Yep. So I post on IG. I show a lot of the walkthrough stuff. Yeah. So we've got some more stuff coming. Like I'll show LVLs. That's one of the other videos that I'm going to do. I actually took a section of LVL from our project this week, so I can show you what that looks like. Let's see. Anna K, 2, 3, 4 in my market. Yep. I'm also tracking. Yep. Has 5 listings and staying for 100 days plus as well. Very good. Yeah. So I would if you're reaching out to them either yourself, I think it's really all about having a conversation. It's really understanding, so the property's been on the market for 100 days. Why? Did it have an offer and fall out of escrow? Is the person, like 3 of the ones that are in my market, they don't care if they sell them. So they're just like, yeah, I'll sell at that price, but nothing else. Okay. So they're just like, if I can get 200,000 bucks more than what it's worth, kind of like Mike says, I'll always let somebody overpay for my asset. So I think that person's doing that. So yeah, I don't know if it's like the broker's a friend of his, but yeah, I mean, I think it's all about having those conversations. If you have your agent, I would have your agent contact their agent and just say, yeah, we're interested in the property, but we do have some concerns. It's been on the market for over 100 days. Why? Who knows? And then maybe that agent, if they're a good agent, right, they can start to gauge that and say, well, what are the 3 most, like my reverse offer strategy, right? There's a video on that on my channel, reverse offer strategy. What are the 3 most important things to them? Is it just like, that's the price, that's the only price, and if it's not that price, then forget it? Well, okay, if that's my option, then if his answer back is price, price, price. Okay. If that's his answer, then would he consider doing seller financing on the whole deal or on part of the deal? You know, and then say, and before they were to consider that, here's what seller financing could look like. So that's what I would do if you're trying to get somebody off the sidelines from, because the price doesn't matter. The price doesn't matter. The payment matters. So maybe he's happy getting 800, but he'll carry 40%, or maybe he'll carry all of it. Maybe he then say, you know what, if I get my 800 grand, I'll do that deal, you know, for 4% or 3.5%. And then it's just do those numbers then work for you. That's what I would look at, Anna. Tom Kine, and good product review videos now. Thanks, Tom. Yeah, they're good. I appreciate that. They're good. For me to be able to put that stuff out there, just to kind of give you guys kind of the inner workings, the look at kind of what we do for product. I am not, that was something that was really hard for me in the beginning, was, you know, I bought just the cheapest and the cheap became expensive. You know, replacing faucets after 3 years, that sucks. You know, oh, I got the faucet for $75. Yeah, well, it cost, you know, $100 for the plumber to rush over there and put a new one in because something on it broke and it was spraying water and I was at work. Right. So that's where kind of the challenge, that's where the challenge kind of hit, if you will. Santi, cap in my market is about 4. I don't look at cap. Cap is not a number that I care about, because cap is technically figured out with no debt. Like I just looked at a deal that came across my desk and the guy was like, oh, the NOI is this and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah, I know. Great. I don't care about NOI. I don't care about NOI. Because their NOI with no debt service, well, it doesn't have debt service. Yeah, I know. That's why I don't like it. I want the number that's very simple for me to figure out. House costs $500,000. I'm going to put $100,000 in. That means I have $400,000 of debt to service. What are the expenses outside of debt? What does the debt cost me? And then what are my monthly rents? Expenses plus debt service minus or taken from gross profit. That's my net. That's what my return is on my $100,000. It's very, very simple. You can do that stuff in your head if they, you know, give you the listing sheet and they show, yeah, here's the expenses for heating and for electric and for plowing and for landscaping and blah, 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 blah. And then I break that. Okay, that's the annual. And then here's what the annual is going to be on the mortgage. And then, you know, principal, interest, and then taxes, and then insurance. So the pity payment plus expenses, and then that deduct that from gross rents. That's what my month, that's what the either annual number is going to be or the monthly number is. And then just, is that a number that's, you know, is that $1,000 a month on my $100,000 investment, which is 12%? Is it 8%? Is it 22%? So for me, NOI, cap, all that other stuff, I don't care, because I only care about it with expenses that include debt coverage. That's how I do it. I'm not saying that's right or the best, but that's how I do it. Dion talk financial freedom. Let's do a video in tenant turnover. Okay. I am the immature. You're the pro. I think we've all proven that's not true. I will have questions on how you're systematized something, but I don't want to do enough times to be good at it. Yes. Okay. That's fair. Yeah, that's a good idea. See, he's the pretty and the smart one. So yeah, I'll do that with you. Let me know. Let me know when you're in a part of the country that has internet service. Tom Kine, I figure DM will ask great questions to prompt your brain. He usually does. That's why I like working with him. Robert Farinelli. Ceiling fans should probably go. It's nice, but it's the old gold bronze. Yep. The wood fins are fine, but yeah, should be satin. Yeah, satin nickel. Yep. Recommendations for storage. Tips for find good deals on storage unit. Need space for my stuff because I am doing the roommate thing. I don't have any good tips. Try and not go with a big corporate house. Yeah, try and find a lot of the corporate guys came in because I was looking at doing some storage units. A lot of the corporate guys came in and anybody that had already built something, they bought it and now they've jacked up the price. Like, so there were 6 providers within 20 minutes of my house, 6. Of those 6, they were all independents. And now it's 2. None of them are independent. All 6 of them were bought. There's 2 companies and they just do nothing but spend their time jacking up the rents, which is kind of funny. It's like, yeah, I mean, I get it. Like they're owning a market and there's nobody watching that, but they don't even go through the process of like, oh, let's build this or let's make that. Nope. Nothing like it. Not interested. Nope. The only thing that they do is they buy them when they're 100% done and they have tenants and then they put their branding on, they put in their model and then they maximize. And so that's a great idea. I think the challenge comes to play where in a down economy, like if it's like the Great Recession, most of those places weren't getting paid. You know, so it's like they would auction somebody's stuff off, but the recovery was pennies on the dollar. And so I don't know, you know, yeah, I don't know. I mean, obviously at one of the places went from 125 for a unit to 175. So they have, I think, 120 units there. I mean, that's an extra 6,000, 7,000 bucks a month. That's crazy. And that's with doing nothing except for putting their name on the post outside. Anna K, thank you, Matt. You're welcome. Johnny Cashflow Ramirez, Matt, the property management master. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I mean, Lumberjack, the property management master. Yeah. All of these ideas, they're all going to, so I have guys that are in marketing. They're friends of mine, but they're also in marketing. And so we talk about that stuff. So yeah. And they're not property guys. They're not property guys at all. So they'll go back and they'll look in their Google machine and they'll figure out, yeah, this is good. This is not good for this reason, that sort of stuff. So yeah, any of that stuff, I welcome all of it. So I'll bring it to those guys. Dividend Dave, the sewer issue I had reported in this chat last week was due to a pump issue. Okay, great. Had a plumber check it and now it's good. No issues found with the new one. Perfect. Very good. Is that a subgrade pump, Dave, or is it an above grade pump? Might even end a little bit early today. I have a wedding to go to this afternoon. Kid you not. Mrs. Lumberjack was like, are you still going to do your live stream? I was like, yep. She goes, oh, okay. I was like, there's a reason? She's like, well, there's the wedding this afternoon. I go, well, that's this afternoon. I don't feel as though I have to prepare myself to go to this wedding. It's the person's third and they're in their early 30s. Not judging, just saying. There is a very high likelihood I'll be going to his fourth. I know that's all horrible. I get it. I get it. All right, we'll wait for a couple more questions to come in. If I get a couple more questions, I will answer them. Just checking any other fires. Nope. Okay. That's ridiculous. Any other questions? I like your comment, Lumberjack Landlord name. It's very unique and your logo is cool. Thank you. I like, oh, GSP Properties. You sent me an email this week and I didn't get back to you. I'm sorry about that. Oh, dear God. I just saw a posting from some stupid channel about how they're talking in 2.5 months. He says it's a builder, but it doesn't look like it's a builder. But let's just say it's a builder. I don't think it's a builder. It's maybe it's a builder, but you can't really tell. But he's just showing like what is that? 15% price drop and BFT. Whatever. Some people. Robert Finelli, just a comment. I found the COC playbook. It's awful. A lot of opinion words in the code. Yeah, no kidding. That's why I left Manchester. It's a bunch of opinion. And when you have 37 of those guys that you're trying to make happy, guess what? You can have a good one, you can have a bad one. And some of them are like, no, it's not really the case. I had my properties in Manchester, I had 3 different inspectors. 3. So I didn't even get continuity from one building to the next. I got 3 different guys. So I was like, why are you making me do that? This guy didn't. Well, that's what the code is. That's what you should be doing. Yeah, it wasn't. It was opinion. Yeah. Yep. Don't like it. There's too many what I call weak words in there. Weak words are words that don't give you the exact level of by which you have to bring it to. It has to be strong words. It has to be, this is the way it's to be. This is what this has to be unless it's this. Not in some cases, because guess what happens? Well, this is one of those some cases. Yeah, that's why, yeah, not for me. Jeremy Kirkwood, party wall in a duplex. Yes, my man. 1910, build with lathe. Oh, yeah, gross. What is some good sound mitigation ideas? Thick drywall. All right, Jeremy, we're going to go back and forth on this. Are you ready? Are you ripping the wall down? Like the wall itself, but pulling all the plaster and lathe off and the trim? Are you doing that? The word good, that makes everything subjective. Exactly. 100% agree with you. Yep. Well, I don't think this is good enough. Why? Based on what? I just don't think it's good enough. Based on what? Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't do it. Good for you, man. I couldn't do it. Couldn't do it. Too many different guys. Too many different guys. Yeah. So Jeremy, I'll wait for your answer back because I will answer those questions. Not ripping. So you're leaving all the lathe and plaster up. I would rip one side. So if you're leaving all of it up, there's not a lot you can do. Just isn't. Yeah, there's not a lot you can do. The only way that you can quiet that wall is if you pull down one side of it. And I would put in, if you pull down one side of it, I would put safe and sound in the walls. I would also put plastic in between. So I would do 3 mil plastic and like push. So in the cavities, put 3 mil plastic in, then put the safe and sound in, then do 3 mil plastic on top of that. And then I would use a product called Quiet Rock on that side, on the side that you ripped off. I would put all Quiet Rock on that wall. I will show you what that looks like in about 4 weeks. I'll show you a sample of it because we're doing a place like that right now. In fact, that one that was in the picture that was on my Instagram. And I would use Quiet Rock. It's basically inch thick. It's inch thick sheetrock, but it's got a membrane in the middle. I would use that, and you can literally barely hear anything next door. Yeah, cellulose. I don't like in between those walls. Pests. Nope. Safe and sound. It's cheaper, less messy, and it is anti-pest, anti-mold, and anti-moisture. Yep. Don't like cellulose. GSP. It's okay. I'm probably going to contract Universal this week. Yeah, I would reach out to Universal. they're the best. So I used to use Universal. The only reason I didn't is because I started doing so much volume that it made sense for me to do directly. And so I just do directly now. So that's why I don't use Universal anymore. Take one side and insulate safe with side plastic quiet rock. Got it. Yep. One wall is a stairwell, so the other would work. Yep. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, that's what I would do. That you're gonna be amazed at the reduction. You're gonna be amazed. And if it's a stairwell, the other thing I would do too is I would put 8-pound pad and I would put a high pile rug. 8-pound pad, high pile rug on the stairs, and it's gonna be a different house. You won't even believe it. That's what I've done to a bunch of properties. Safe plastic, 3 mil plastic, safe and sound, 3 mil plastic on top of that, sheets of quiet rock. And then 8-pound pad and plush carpet, and yeah, you're gonna be styling. Yep. Yep. Robert Finley, I wonder if we can sue because of opinion words and make them use strong words, but maybe so far because I got a nice guy. So there is a statute that passed that said if something is non-compliant, you have to cite the code that you say makes that not compliant. You want to pick a fight with an inspector? It sucks. I rarely do, but I had to on a couple because the solution was going to be $10,000 out of my pocket. Nope. Well, that wasn't going to happen. So I was at least going to fight it at that point. It was what it was. Jeremy Kirkwood. Yes. Okay, cool. Yep. Keith Hager. Yes, I had 3 inspections and 3 levels of repairs. Inspectors are paid to find stuff. Inspectors must justify their pay. So 37 inspectors, right? They're all making 60, 70, 80,000 bucks a year because they've all been there for quite some time. It's a big nut, right? And so they only cover that by permits and fees and penalties and things like that. So yeah, that's why we have a smaller city, or I have 3 towns or 3 that I do business with. One of them is getting onerous. One of them is getting over the top because now they've got a little bit of a bloated department and they're going to have to justify those expenses. But the new construction should justify those expenses because that's what they're spending a majority of their time on. They're not spending not nearly as much time on the old stuff. They're spending much more of it on the new stuff for sure. Nice. You just that's nice. You should have used my handles, Jeremy. That looks nice. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, that's what I would do. Yeah, what's that? Styrofoam? Or just like panel? Oh yeah. Yeah, I rip all that off. Yep, I completely exposed that wall. So Jeremy just sent me a picture. Yep, I just completely exposed that wall. Open that whole thing up. Yep, right there within the studs. Plastic safe and sound, plastic on top, quiet rock. Gonna make a huge world of difference. Yep, like it. It's always helpful. Yeah. Yeah, that's what I would do for sure. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, that's what I would do. Beautiful. Yeah, I saw the pic. That's awesome. It's perfect. But if you're not opening up the wall, yeah, or ceiling, it's the best option for soundproofing. Yeah, not a fan of that cellulose stuff ever. Just it's not because pests literally, and in New England, old homes like that, they always have entry points. It's not possible to keep them out because so many of our homes in New England have granite block foundations, not like cinder block, but like granite blocks, like oblong, and they find their way in. And I've gone through it. So yeah, it's just, it can be brutal. That's what I would do based on what you showed me, Jeremy. And the quiet rock, just be emotionally prepared. It's expensive, but it's worth it. But yeah, Roxel, 3 mil, quiet rock. Yeah, that's what I did. They have these other things that you can do too, these like hangers that you can kind of like put on the wall to then hang the sheetrock off of. I didn't find those to be a great noise reducer. Maybe it was my application. I didn't find that they reduced any noise. I found that it actually created more of a cavity that made it louder. I had a few landlords, GSP properties, I had a few landlords in the Seacoast area group recommend Universal. Do you have a favorite countertop company? Yeah, sorry, I do actually. Yep. Raphael, he's an independent contractor. 603 417 4241. 603 417 4241. That's who does my counters. So he's good. His name is Raphael. All the disclaimer stuff. I have no idea how well he's going to treat you. I have no idea if he's going to try and rip you off. I have no idea. I can tell you he does a good job on my counters. I can tell you that he's done probably, I don't know, a couple dozen kitchens for me. I've not had any issue with the kitchens he's done. And I believe he's fairly priced. That's all I can tell you. Don't know if he's a good person or not, because obviously he's taking care of me. He's got my projects done in a timely manner. I think only once or twice did we ever have a delay, and that was based on the stone that was based on a manufacturing issue. So yeah, hopefully that helps you. Yeah, Universal's decent. Kevin is the owner there. Kevin's the owner at Universal. He's been doing those. It's a big, huge warehouse out of Portsmouth. He's been doing those for 20 years, maybe. Is it 20? Yeah, it's about 20 years. Maybe, yes, 17 to 20 years. Because I remember doing my first couple kitchens with him when I wasn't married yet, and then was doing kitchens with him when I was. Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right. 3 minutes. Any more questions? I'll hit you. The quiet rock and material will do pretty good on airborne noise, but structural noise, closing doors, footsteps is pretty much impossible to fix without a rebuild. I disagree. If you put, like I said, that's for the wall. If you put, I've done it 100 times. I've never, ever, ever rebuilt any of these 150-year-old, 120-year-old homes. I've never rebuilt them. All I've done is that. I've only done 8-pound pad, high pile carpet on the stairs, and I've done plastic, rock salt, and quiet rock on the walls. That's all I've ever done. So it wasn't, it absolutely cut down on the noise for sure. Yep. Thank you. I'll definitely shop around and check. Yeah. Yeah. GSP, like I said, Raphael's been good. He's been fair to me. He was less expensive than the other guys I was using, and he gave me the same quality product, didn't make excuses, and found something I needed. And he gave me selection of slab, which was really important, that I didn't have to drive down there and look at the slab every freaking time. I'm like, no, you're there. Take pictures of the 3 or 4 slabs that are in stock at the exchange. Take 3 or 4 pictures, and I'll pick one of them from that. Like, I don't have the time to drive an hour, look at 4 slabs, pick one, and then drive an hour home. Like, that's a 2.5 hours out of my day. I don't have time for that. So he makes it where he sends me some pictures, and I'm like, yep, that slab. And that way I know what I'm getting. It's not just, we're not just guessing, because there can be so much variation in the slabs that we use. Let's see. Flash of light. How much do you pay your handyman lately? As much as he charges. I don't know what the question is there. I have different handymen. They get paid different amounts. I'll answer the question, not trying to be evasive, just trying to be honest. Yeah, they make different money. Keith Hager, looking at acreage for a vineyard. Oh man, and have sharecroppers live on the property and working for shares at harvest. Cool. Placing several tiny homes for them. Your thoughts? That's cool. That's cool. I'm trying to do a tiny home development. The biggest issue is finding the land that they want that will meet the zoning requirements. There's somebody that did one. They started almost 3 years ago and they're still not done yet. I can't build for 3 years. Because when you're building something of that size, you can't do a whole lot else. And I'm not going to take myself out of the market for that long. Scott Race, new investor with 1.8 million to spend on a 1031 exchange from a land sale to a developer. Congratulations. How would you diversify the properties to be purchased? I own 0 rentals. Scott, congratulations on your massive, massive land sale. There's a lot of data there that I don't have to give you any real guidance, but do you own your own primary? For me, I started out buying properties that were house hacked. I could live in one of the units and I'd rent out the other units in the multifamily. I don't know if that's the position that you're in. If you already own your own single family house and you're like, I've got 1.8 million to spend, I don't know your market. So I have no idea if 1.8 million is in like San Francisco, where that's like, that's going to buy you probably a couple of nice duplexes, down payment on them, I mean. Or if you're in Lincoln, Nebraska, where that will probably buy you almost any street in Lincoln, Nebraska you want. So not a ton of data there, but yeah. Not a ton of data there. I tried. But if you ask more, I can help more. But yeah, Keith Hager, that's kind of cool. That's kind of cool on the tiny home thing. Are you having the tiny homes built on site, or are you shipping them in? Like they're built off site and then you're just bringing them on site and you're dropping them on a pad? Hour outside of DC, Maryland. Oh, so who is it? Chester Williams. Where's Chester today? Chester Williams, you'll see him in the live streams here. I think he's just outside of DC, Maryland. Yeah, it really depends. I don't know that market at all. The first thing that I would start at is if you've got, 1.8 million that you've got a 1031 on. The first thing I would probably do is read Mike Zuber's. Yeah, I would read Mike Zuber's book. If you've not got any rentals right now, and I mean, what was the plan with the 1.8 when you sold, or have you sold? Yeah, new investor with 1.8 to spend on the 1031. Okay. Yeah, the biggest problem right now is inventory and what kind of a landlord you might want to be. Like an hour outside of DC, depending on which direction, you can find easily a $2 million home you could pay for cash and then use it as a rental. It's probably an upside down rental. But yeah, it's a great problem to have, I guess. But you've got the world is your oyster. Lots of opportunity. Offsite coming from Bear Creek, Alabama. Okay, cool. Keith, can you email me a link? Can you email me a link? Lumberjacklandlord@gmail. I want to see what these little houses are. Because I'm looking at 3D building, buying a machine. I'm looking at on-site building. I'm also looking at just buying them and then just having them literally just shipped here and dropped on a spot. Those are all options. Offsite coming from Bear Creek, Alabama. I like it. The only challenge with Alabama, usually where the house is built is where the code is. Where the code is, that wouldn't meet our code in New Hampshire for insulation, as an example. So it depends on what I'm receiving as a product that I would look at and then say, I need to add these things to it. Flash of light. Are modern tough sheds long lasting, or they fall apart like a mobile home? Are modern tough sheds long lasting, or they fall apart too like a mobile home? I'm not familiar with the brand. I mean, a lot of sheds are T111 on the outside because it's cheap. Excuse me. I think there's varying levels. I mean, let's face it, it's being manufactured, right? So they're going to use the cheapest stuff. I would look locally to find, like, look on Craigslist, look on Facebook Marketplace. I would look for a shed that is for sale, or I would look at shed builders where they basically say, here's the floor plan and here's how much it is. And then I would compare the pricing, because you can usually then say, well, if you're giving me this price for a blah, 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 I want to upgrade that to 1 inch. If you're making it 2x4 construction, I want it to be 2x6 construction. And so a 2x, you say that you require whatever it is, 62x4s, and you're pricing them at $8 a piece. Well, then let's do 62x6s that are $10 a piece. So it's an extra $120 in material. Make sense? Yes. Okay. Buying them built and drop on site 5 miles out of the metro market. Yeah, I'd love to see that link. I'd love to see the product and walk through it a little bit. Yeah. Peter Schiff, is it better to buy a condo in a nice area or a single family in an okay area? Thanks. Really tough to say. So the way, Peter, that we run our numbers is we look at what the rents are, what the market return is, i.e. if I buy it and I buy it with 20% down and I put, and I put a tenant in it and my rent is X, what's my mortgage? And then what's that return on my capital going to be? So markets do vary across the country. And so there's no hard and fast rule that, hey, a condo always works, or hey, a single family, or hey, a duplex. There's no way to know exactly what works in your area, except to kind of step back, take a step back and kind of look at it and say, what are rents in single family homes? What are rents in those condos? Then what's my money down for each one of those assets? And then what's my return on that capital? For me specifically, I don't particularly like condos. That's why also typically condos will be less expensive, than the single family homes in the market. But those are the numbers that you have to run through. Is, for me, it's all about that return on capital. The only challenge with the condo is the HOA rules, if they find out that it's a rental, that sort of stuff. So for me, my preference is staying away from HOAs, staying away from general rules. That's always my preference, is to stay away from HOAs. So I don't buy single families either. I buy duplexes. Single families in my area don't cash flow. So hopefully that gives you some guidance to kind of go down that path on. Scott Race. Okay, thank you. I've been analyzing my market for the last 4 months. Okay, very cool. Following Mike's advice. Awesome. A great deal is 8 to 10%. Awesome. I wasn't sure if it's less risky to own multiple properties or an apartment building. Now that's a different question. For me specifically, I much rather own 5 duplexes than 1 10 unit. I would much rather own 5 duplexes than 1 10 unit. And the reason for that is, there's a bunch of reasons for that. You're going to be higher price per bedroom, usually speaking. You have much more liquid asset. If commercial, and that's what I think, like office buildings and things like that, if that part of the market tanks, which I believe it will, because a lot of that debt's starting to reset. My belief is that you're probably a little bit too early to really take advantage of that. But my belief is that single assets. So I would rather have 5 duplexes than 1 10 unit building. That's for me. Those assets are far more liquid. If I had to sell that 10 unit building when commercial rates are 8.5, I'm going to have a much more difficult time selling that than I will at 6.5 on a duplex. So for me, and I own both, and I don't get to choose what comes to me in the market, if that makes sense. So I evaluate all, but usually the return on capital, I personally like duplexes, as I believe that they're the most liquid asset with typically the highest rate of return on rents. Hopefully that helps you. But yeah, I would be looking at kind of both of those things, but analyzing the market for the time you did, that's the most critical thing. a great deal knowing that that's 8 to 10%. That's fantastic. The deal is 6 to 12 months out closing. Do you offer one-on-one consulting? So Scott, I don't offer one-on-one consulting. Usually we just kind of do it here. I probably will when I retire. But right now I just don't have enough time. And so the 3 hours a week or 4 hours a week that I get, I spend 3 hours doing this because I can help the most people. I think you're heading down the right path though. The fact that you're 6 to 12 months out from closing, that's fantastic news. Keep on doing that work. And I would then evaluate if you're 6 to 12 months out from closing, you might be in good shape. You might be in the part of the market where commercial debt goes to 8.5. And that means that you're buying something that's fire sailing. Like, because there will be commercial stuff that will be fire selling for sure. I think a higher percentage, you're going to get a better deal on a bigger building than you will on a bunch of duplexes, I think, in the next 6 to 12 months. But it really depends on what kind of landlord you want to be. So keep on doing what you're doing. Continue to evaluate the market, continue to watch content. Send me an email at lumberjacklandlord@gmail.com. Just kind of walking through some of the scenarios and let me see what I can do. Did I insult you? I didn't mean to. Oh, input. Okay. I was like, I thought usually when I'm insulting somebody, like I'm actually specifically trying to do it. So input. You're welcome. Yeah. Problem with LC is that the owner wants 25K, looking for creative ways to get owner interested. Yeah, I get that. Yep. Yeah, I get that. LD teach me. Sure. Sorry, I missed a couple up at the top. Million. Hey, Matt. Hey, we close a duplex and one side smokes for 20 years and a dog and a cat live in the unit. How do you remedy smoke and animal pee? It's hard. It's a lot of work. You can do it. It's a lot of work. Usually the first thing that you do is they make products online that you can spray on the walls and it will pull the nicotine out of the walls. And you just keep on wiping it down. Spray, get it really, don't get it too wet because you don't want to rip through anything. But that's the first thing you do is I spray it all down, get it moist, and then start wiping away the nicotine. It will pull the nicotine out of things. Just keep on wiping away. You can keep on doing that. The solution for the pet stuff is the same thing. If it's wood floors or if it's subfloor, you can do them both. But you can use hydrogen peroxide. It's a mix. You can find the mixture online. You douse it in it, and then you just let the hydrogen peroxide work. It's going to soak in. It's going to then pull up the ammonia that's in the urine. So it then pulls that stuff up. And then you just keep on wiping until you wipe away and it's clear. You'll drastically have the smell change for sure. That's the first thing that I do. The second thing that I do is I use an ozone machine. You can't have anybody else in the building, but I'll use an ozone machine, make sure the vacants are or the units are vacant all around it, easy for me to say. And then that ozone machine will do its wonders. It will literally kill and attack that smell. And then after that, then I see what I'm still working with. After that, typically it's barely noticeable, if noticeable at all. The key is use a black light, shut everything off, use a black light to find out where your urine stains are. And once you've kind of done all of that, then usually you can use a sealer on use like a Kills or a Bins or a Zinsser on the walls. And then you can use also like a special sealer on the floors as well that you can use. Then you poly. I do 2 or 3 coats of poly on top of those floors. I have it done. And on the walls, it's just a couple coats of paint. And then you should be good. If you weren't getting any more results on your black light, then you got all the urine. And on the smoke, it's kind of the same thing, but you can trap in that smell. You want to get that stuff off because you don't want when you paint it for it to bleed through. But they make a product called Aqua Lock, which is a really good product. And then Bins, Zinsser, and some of these other ones out there. Yeah, Scott still gave me a heart attack when you said I insulted you. What the heck? Let's see. LV, talk with agent. Agent presented the master lease offer, but owner said doesn't want to deal with tenants if it doesn't work with me. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. LV teach me. Let's see. Owner asking too much, but have remodeled kitchens and baths. Owner will pay for new furnace and HWH, but I also want separate set of furnace and hot water heater. So utilities are separate. Yeah. 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 I mean, that's the thing is, right? You gotta, except for asking him directly, right? Exactly what sort of scenario that he wants in the reverse offer strategy. What are the three things that you want to see in a transaction? Knowing that, and you get that back, and then at least it resets the dialogue. There might just be nothing you can do because he just says, it's not the arrangement that I want, period. You're going to have to show him something that changes his mindset, that gets him refocused on another shiny ball over here. The only way you can do that is by asking questions, right? So 3 questions, 4 questions. The main goal is, in an ideal transaction, what would be the 3 or 4 main things that you'd be trying to accomplish? He might say highest price. He might say to just get out of the deal. Also understanding what level of equity he has. It can also be a conversation with, that way, when you see those 4 things back, you can then start the different paths and kind of start to peel it apart. That's what I do. And I'm not like one of those, gurus that tells you, well, this is just the way you're doing it. If you're not getting that response, you're doing it wrong. No, it's human nature. Like that other guy the owner might just not want to sell, or he doesn't want to sell with that structure around it. That happens all the time. In all honesty, I would not do a seller finance deal. I would not finance a deal for another buyer. Wouldn't do it. That's just me. Jose Mancada. Hey, Jose, good to have you. Good morning. I'm flipping manufactured homes in parks and using gains to buy rentals. Okay, cool. What are your thoughts on affordable housing sales in coming times? Thank you, JM. I think that they're only going to get better. Yeah, in all honesty, I think that, and don't take offense to this, it's purely just mathematics. The lower end of the market, kind of where you're trading, I think is going to do better than the others. I think it's going to do better than the others down in that market. Yeah. Ashley A. Hey, Matt, do I need to be pretty aggressive? I only saw the pretty part and I'm like, oh no. Do I need to be pretty aggressive with small multifamily units that are listed on MLS? Do you notice they sell quick? I'm a small fish in a big pond. LOL newbie. Ashley A, congratulations on just trying to get on the ladder. It's admirable in and of itself. It really depends on your market. In my market, a small multifamily 2, 3, or 4 unit, if it's priced right, guess what? It's gone. It's under contract within 72 hours. If it's priced even close to right. I don't know your market, so I don't know what you're looking for. But I can tell you that there's no replacement. So I'm a car guy. They always say there's no replacement for displacement, which means the size of the engine, right? There's no replacement for knowing your market. Know it inside and out, keep on getting it cold, start to track how long stuff is lasting on the market. Oh, this was a 3, like I look at 2, 3, and 4 units all the time. I know how long they last on the market. I know when they're priced great, but that came from just being in this market for 18 years. So I know what stuff should trade for. I know what stuff should be purchased for. I know what stuff should sell for. I know when it has these 3 or 4 issues, what the price reduction should be on that. So that's where it's really, but that comes with time. So keep on doing the work, keep on watching your market. Don't be in a rush to buy something. Be in a rush to become an expert. Be in a rush to become an expert. Know it cold. When you know it cold, you are far less likely to make a mistake that ends up taking you a couple of years to get out of. So know your market cold. So keep on doing the work, keep on tracking the stuff that you're posted or that's being posted, making sure you're understanding rents, because the buy side is over here. The rent side's over here. If you know, this is where I unearth value. Over here, I bought something and everyone's like, oh, well, based on the rent, it's only worth this. Yeah, but those rents are low. They're 30% low. So that for me is built-in value. If I know the rents are 30% low, I have a building from a building that I just bought. I have a building like literally less than 60 seconds from door to door on this thing. And I know exactly what I get for rents there. And it's way more than I get for rents over here, or what I will in the new building, or the newer building, the new to me building. So hopefully that's helpful. Jose Moncada, any advice to investors flipping under median? No, because I think all the principles are still the same. I think the one thing I would tell you, Jose, is I would watch my Landlord product review series, because I think for a couple of $100, you can distance yourself from the other product in the market by strategically spending a few $100 on special, on, nicer lights, nicer handles like these, nicer handles, nicer lights like these. Sorry, here. But nicer products like that you're going to replace some things anyway. The difference is maybe a couple $100. It's going to look like a nicer finished product. So I think in that price range that you're in, I think you can maximize opportunity by installing slightly better product that gives it a higher value feel. It's still a light, but it gives it a higher value feel. It's more valuable to the person because it looks nicer. It looks more finished. Oh, we didn't see any of this other stuff in the other ones. The other ones all looked alike. I think that's a difference maker for you. Let me know if that helps you. Brian Beck. Hey, Matt, I'm an over the road truck driver, and I'm dropping a load in Raymond, New Hampshire at Walmart DC right now. Hoping you and your family do well. Hey, Brian Beck, I worked there. I worked in that hellhole. I was on the 27 line. That sucked. That was the worst. Oh my word, was that job awful. And the first time I applied there, they sent me a Dear John letter telling me to pound sand. Yeah, good luck, Brian. I appreciate you, man. Family's doing great. I hope you're doing well too. Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Man, that brings back the days. That was scary. Yeah, LV teach me third wedding. Yeah. I am not thrilled to be going to this one. I've already told my wife, listen, if he gets married a fourth time, like at what point can I tap out? Like, I don't need to see this guy promise life and eternity to another girl. I wanted to sit up in the cloud and go, what about the other two? Like, honest to God with these things. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I know. I get it. I'm broken. These are the things that go through my head. It's very painful. It's very painful to be me, especially not being able to say that. Thank you for the advice. I'll check out your Landlord series. Yeah, Jose, you're killing it, man. You have a great plan. I love your plan. I love it. If I were newer in the business and didn't have kind of the way that we do things and the model that we have, I would be doing what you're doing. I love what you're doing. So just bring it up a little. And I don't know what you're using already, but bring it up a little bit, I'm trying to look for some of the other stuff. USB outlets, with the USBs ports and the C charging ports, put these in the bedrooms. Like, I'm telling you, watch those videos. You bring it up a whole nother level or two. It's going to cost you. You're already doing some of that work. It's going to cost you a few $100 difference. And I'm telling you, it's going to make, you can then charge, I believe you can charge significantly more, and you're going to get it because no other place is going to compete like you with that. People go into it with a mindset, oh, it's just a rental. If you say it's just a rental to me more than twice, I don't work with you. Because my rule is I won't rent out anything that I won't live in myself. No. If I won't live in it myself, then I won't own it. So when someone says to me, oh, it's just a rental, that burns me. It makes me so mad. This is going to be somebody's home someday. This is maybe where they live. I want them to be here, enjoy their time here, spend their time here, and not go, well, yeah, I mean, it's not awful. Like, that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for, yeah, I really like my place. Why? Because I took the time, attention, care to detail. I took the time to do that stuff to give them a better experience. That's what landlording, that's what great landlording is providing a better experience, but recognizing that you a lot of times have to do it on a budget. So it's not like I'm going to put a pool in every one of my houses. No, it's cost benefit, which is I can spend a little bit more and give them a better experience. I want to do that hopefully that helps you. Oh, wait, I've got to get whatever that is out of my finger. Sorry, guys. It's just driving me nuts. Every once in a while I hit it. Jose Moncada. Yeah. And Ashley A, major day. Awesome. Ashley A, follow me on Instagram. Everyone follow me on Instagram, but Ashley specifically, follow me on Instagram because I'm doing a lot of multifamily 2, 3, and 4 unit rehabs coming up. There was one that I just did. It was a 4 unit. You can see the apartment that I just did there. Start to get some ideas, right? Start to get some ideas. That way, if you see a place that needs value add, needs some work done to it, you can know what you can transform from and to. Start to look at that some of that stuff. It's kind of like filling up your tank with data. That way, you know, you have somewhere, if you don't fill up that tank, you don't have anything to pull from that tank. So if you fill that stuff up, if you constantly, like I always tell people, if you never put any fuel in the tank, you can never slam on that accelerator to pull it out. Right. So hopefully that helps you. Brian Beck, your winter starts in 3 weeks, doesn't it? Kind of close. I used to work there, not anymore. But yeah, kind of. Yeah. It's like it's winter season stuff. It's like end of August. Yeah, that's when that stuff starts to hit. So yeah, like 5 weeks. Yeah, 5 weeks. So funny. I don't know why Dion gives you grief about New Hampshire weather. It's totally warm here. Oh wait, my bad. I forgot it's July. Yeah, as the Starks are fond of saying, winter is coming. Yeah, no kidding, right? Jose Moncada, agree 100%. Yeah, Jose, crush it, man. LV, teach me. I'll keep prodding the owner. Go for it. Yep. Ashley, make sure you follow me. Everybody follow me on Instagram. There's a bunch more cool stuff coming. If you don't have an Instagram account, I won't lie to you. I'm honestly that it's that important that you just open an Instagram account. And even if you only follow me, I'm not trying to be selfish. We got a ton of rehab stuff that we got coming up. We're going to show you product in the fields. I won't be able to do videos on all that stuff because I literally have to hire a video crew or I have to go out there with other people, which costs money, which I don't necessarily mind doing, but it's availability, their availability with mine. So Instagram, I can easily do that and I like the stills because I can show you befores and afters. And a lot of these places, I don't have videos of the befores. So hopefully that's helpful. But yeah, winter does start too soon here, Brian. That's good. Well, enjoy your offloading there in Raymond, the lovely Raymond. I still own a house in Raymond, actually. I do. There's a lake there. I own a house on the lake. It's a cottage more. It's a better word for it. It's a cottage. So guys, thank you so much. Have an awesome rest of your day. I have to go spend 9 minutes getting ready for this. Stinking Rich Racine. I've seen you in my feed. Southern New Hampshire, Manchester, right, Rich? I think I know your name. I think that's who you are, right, Rich? Manchester? You tell me if I'm wrong. But yeah, we're just wrapping up. It's been an awesome week. Thanks so much, guys, for hanging out. Don't forget Dion live stream Tuesday night. Tuesday night live stream with Dion at 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. 4 p.m. Pacific, 7 p.m. Eastern time. Dion will be on there answering questions. But yeah, super excited. I know that he'll have a lot to talk about this week. He's been driving everywhere, so I know he'll have a lot to talk about. And yeah, it'll be really cool. So you guys all have a super awesome week. I appreciate y'all coming and hanging out with me, talking real estate, asking great questions. Yeah, look forward to being here again next Sunday. And then Tuesday, I'm on with Mike at One Rental at a Time. Thursday, we've got the Three Amigos. And then I've got a special guest. I think tomorrow we're doing some fun stuff tomorrow. I think it's a couple of us. I don't know. I got to look at my calendar. So it's the only thing that keeps me going in the right direction. I think, right? Yeah. Oh, and 2 product reviews this week. Shark Bites and doors. I'm going to try and do the protective wear, but like I said, my guys are using the protective wear right now. So yeah, it's going to be Shark Bites and doors, specifically the Craftsman 3. I think you guys will think the door is pretty. Rich Racine, cool. Yeah, cool. Rich, I love your stuff. You're doing a great job out in Manch. Doing a great job. If you guys see him online, he's out in Manchester, does rehab work, or he's an agent, but he has units that have been rehabbed. They're pretty cool. So yeah, check out his feed as well if you're already checking me out. He's in the middle southern part of the state, Manchester and probably south of there. Peter Schiff, you're very welcome. I'm happy to help. Guys, looking forward to next week. And I might do an impromptu this week. Oh, video also coming this week on the eviction that I've got on Tuesday. I hope I'm happy. Can you leave the Amazon link for outlet for the outlet and chemical solutions? Yes, I can. The outlet ones, look at my landlord look at my landlord reviews. I did a whole half hour on it and all of the links are in there. Outlets, cover plates, switches, all that stuff is in there. Rich, you're very welcome. And the chemical solutions, if you just Google it, don't buy the store stuff just use a hydrogen peroxide mix for the floor to pull that stuff up. That's what had the best effect for us, still does. But recognize that if it's like older classic floors, it's going to ruin the polyurethane that you have on them. Just recognize that that's what's going to happen. So guys, have an awesome week. Now I actually have to go because now I have like 14 minutes to get dressed before I have to go to this wedding, which, by the way, Johnny Cash Ramirez, House on Fire PM. You sit down and have a meeting with them and just say, what I want you to bring is my numbers, kind of what you're seeing on my stuff. And then I want you to bring, what your averages are. Because then maybe it's a you thing, maybe it's a them thing. Maybe it's just a conversation where you're like, hey, listen, these are things that I don't think are going very well and I want them to go better. But it's asking them, right? Why do you think these things aren't going well? What are the issues here? Because all due respect, it might not be you. It might be them. All due respect, it might be them, or it might be you. It might not be them. So I try and find that by asking questions. In the beginning, I asked a lot more questions because I didn't really know. As I got through it, I got better at what I can expect from these different contractors and get the results. So Brian Beck, the links for the outlets, cover plates, I changed it, Brian. I updated it. You're good now. Brian Beck, you are good now. I changed them. All fixed. Later, Matt. Thanks for the knowledge. You're welcome. Keith Hager, great work, Matt. What do you put in the front landscaping of your flips and rentals? I found Korean boxwoods are easy, low maintenance. Usually nothing. A lot of our stuff is city stuff and it's not houses. And so a lot of it, it's like if you have a 8-foot by 20-foot piece of grass in front of the house, like that's it. And we just try and make that pretty, but largely speaking, it's a lot of downtown stuff where we don't do a lot of like single family home landscaping stuff. All right, guys, I got to go. I can feel Mrs. Lumberjack through the door. You say it was going to be out at 2. It's all right. I don't need that much more time. Anyway, guys, have an awesome week. Take care. I'll talk to you soon.